All right, you on the reruns. You give me a minute to get the other platforms going, and we should have this up momentarily. So, likely right now, you're probably watching in a rerun. So, give me a second and get up my other platforms. We've had another shooting. Thank you, Attic Von Attic. Appreciate the sound check. Always a pleasure seeing you come in here and let me know that. Thank you. Okay, we've obviously had another shooting in Minneapolis. So we're back again. That's all I can say. We're back again. The best way I can look at it is that Minneapolis is under siege. I don't have any other way to look at this, and I'll certainly give you reasons as to why I'm saying that. That is just simply not a case of liberal fear mongering or fake news, but more or less based on the actions that are taking place in that unfortunate city right now. That unfortunate city. He pulled a gun and got shot. What do you expect? I don't. I'll talk about it in the show because if he pulled a gun and got shot, obviously that's a justifiable shooting. But there's something I want to point out as to why, if he did that, why are the why are the feds doing something special? I want to talk to you about it. So, good question, a really good question. So, give me a minute to get everything going, and we'll certainly cover that great question. That is a great question, and I do have an answer for that question. But like I said, if you pull out a firearm on law enforcement, it is a you asking for what comes to you. You can't just pull out a gun on law enforcement and expect to get away with that shit. But there's more to it than that I want to talk to you about. So give me a second. Is there a video, Leroy? I have not seen, by the way, that's a good question too. I have not seen any videos of the guy actually pulling out a gun on law enforcement. And that's why I said there is something I want to talk to you folks about in regards to that. I have not seen that. I have not seen anybody pulling out a firearm on police. And I think most of us, many of us, have seen the video of this guy's last moments of life. So, what up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I'm just going to simply title this whole show Minnesota Under Siege. I'm getting one of my last fucking streams going here. So give me a quick moment here to get this last device to act right. And then we'll get the show going. But I'm going to title it Minnesota Under Siege for a variety of reasons. And as I stated before, this has nothing to do with just wild liberal fear mongering or attempting to, have a bad case of ICE derangement syndrome. This is not that. This is not that. This is going to be based on what is actually happening on the ground. I think most of you folks have seen the video of what took place by now. So we're going to talk about that. Now, I do want to, we always come with clips. And today is no exception to that, this is going to be why I'm referring to it as under siege. I want you to hear now what is this group called? The BCA. The BCA in Minnesota is known as the Minnesota, BCA stands for Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Now, this is a state investigative agency. And
you're going to feel your life change.
And they showed up because listen, it's a shooting in their state. Even though it was done by the feds, it's a shooting in the state of Minnesota. So they showed up and wanted to investigate what happened. And they got denied access to the scene. Now, I want you to hear this. I guess this is the spokesperson for the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. The BCA is the BCA is their acronym. So I do want to make sure I get up the right clip. If not, I may have to because this stuff is obviously only a few hours old, and I'm still working on the clips from this stuff. But I want you to hear this.
So to be clear, you said you got assigned a paper warrant to gain access.
He's been asked a question.
This
is a...
Yes, that's accurate. The question was,
We had a signed warrant, and we were still denied access to the scene. That's accurate, correct.
How important is that? And have you had any contact? You said that you understand DHS is leading now. Have you had contact since then? And is there any reason to believe that there is now?
Okay, you can't hear.
The question was, have I had any contact since? It's my understanding DHS is running this investigation. I attempted to contact the individual that I was told was the overall commander at the scene, and I have not received a call back from them. We will continue to work together to gather that, make that contact, and understand their process, but we have not had contact yet today.
Okay, now this is a press conference that just happened. Now, obviously, this is the guy wearing a badge in the BCA. He's with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and he's saying that they got an actual federal warrant so that they would have access to the scene. Obviously, they knew ahead of time the Trump administration would try to deny them access to the scene. They showed up with a federal warrant and got denied access to the scene, even with a warrant or access signed by a federal judge. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is one of my viewers asked earlier, if you pull out a firearm on ice, how the hell can you expect anything else other than to get shot? Which is a legitimate question and a legitimate point. But I'm going to submit to you, why the hell are they blocking the state from investigating the scene? Why are they doing that? Even with signed assets from a federal judge, why are they doing that? If they didn't do anything wrong, there's nothing there. Why would they block them from accessing the scene? As you hear the BCA spokesperson say that, yeah, we went out and got a warrant, and they wouldn't let us get access to the scene. Why?
This morning, I was in contact with the Minneapolis Police Department after the incident that you're all familiar with now. They requested our Force Investigations Unit respond to the scene and conduct such an independent investigation as we have in other recent incidents in the city of Minneapolis. What occurred was our team responded to the scene, and I was in contact with federal authorities to inform them that that was going to occur and that we were responding to the scene in Minneapolis. When our team arrived, they were blocked by federal agents with the Department of Homeland Security from accessing the scene. We worked with them and were in contact with the FBI, trying to attempt to access the scene so we can gather evidence to understand what occurred and work through this process. Our team also secured a search warrant for the scene, which is an unusual move in a public area like that, but we did that attempting to have judicial approval to enter the scene to gather evidence. We were once again blocked by federal authorities to go in and do that scene examination.
So you hear him clearly stating, we were willing to work with the feds to do an investigation into this shooting, and the feds have been stonewalling us the whole time, even with a federally signed search warrant by a judge. Why? Why the hell is that happening? How does that not look suspicious? So we had a host of questions I want to go into about this. And by the way, the handsome conservative, thank you, says this is payment for when you talk to gangster grandma. You should come out ahead at least once. Oh my God. I'm sure gangster grandma will be here on this. And thank you, handsome conservative. Appreciate the support. But why would they do this? Now in the comments, Juan Colin says, why do people keep commenting with feelings rather than facts? If they had a federal warrant prior to, did they plan this to have ICE shoot the man? No. If the man pulled out a firearm on ICE and ended up losing his life in the process, he got what he had coming. We're not even here to suggest that the shooting was not justified. We're not here to suggest that. We're here to discuss why the hell all the secrecy afterwards. Why is there so much secrecy and lack of cooperation happening afterwards? What is the BCA, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, what have they done to justify being stonewalled by the feds? Why are they doing that? It should also be noted, because I do see in the comments, Tony Usury is saying he didn't pull a firearm. I want to ask you guys all in the comments, by way of yes or no in the comments, Type yes or no. Have any of you seen a video confirming that the deceased pulled out a firearm? Yes or no in the comments. Has anyone seen that? I've seen the video. I have not seen this guy pull a firearm out. I'm asking, has anyone seen a video featuring the deceased pull out a firearm? I'd be curious to see in the comments in regards to yeses and nos. Overwhelmingly, so far, everybody's saying no. Has anyone seen a video featuring the deceased pulling out a firearm? Because that is what they're saying to justify what happened to him. And as I stated, if he did pull out a firearm, then so be it. That's what comes with pulling out a firearm on law enforcement. But you do have to have some evidence that it actually happened. And I'm going to submit to you the fact that they're refusing to cooperate with state authorities, even with a judicially signed warrant. That don't look right. That does not look right whatsoever. So continuing on, now this was a 37-year-old white male that lost his life in the process with this. Like I said, we're not here to say whether it was justified or not, but we are here to question why they are stonewalling state authorities. I am also here to ask, with the Trump administration being not only the sole investigator on this, but refusing even by judicial warrant to allow anybody else to investigate, do you believe their investigation is being done in an unbiased manner? Once again, by way of yes or no in the comments, do you trust the Trump administration in regards to this investigation, the Kristi Noems in particular? Do you trust what the findings, whatever they come up with? Do you trust that to be fair and accurate? I'm about to call it inaccurate. Fair and accurate. Do you trust them based on what we are seeing here? Also, I also had to point out there was a USA Today investigation that suggests what they are doing in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Taxpayers are forking over $18 million per week for this operation. This operation is costing us $18 million per week. I don't know how many immigrants they're getting rid of, et cetera, but I do want to ask you, do you think with what's going on in this country, that is a justifiable use of taxpayer dollars, suggesting the economy may need some work still, and a host of other things, healthcare for Americans, et cetera? Do you believe what they are doing in Minneapolis should take precedent over getting the economy back on track, healthcare for American citizens, and a host of other issues? Do you think that what is going on in Minneapolis should be placed at the top of concern? Move it up to number one. It's more important than getting the economy back on track. It's more important than making sure Americans have health care. It is that important. Do you agree with that? Also, for those who may or may not agree or be on the fence, I also want to ask, with the amount of chaos taking place in an American city, simple question, should Trump call off this operation until we can get some calm? We have an American city that is in full-blown chaos. Now, keep in mind, Minneapolis is very cold. It is a very wintry city, certainly in a winter time. The temperatures there are below zero. If this carries on into the spring, you're going to have mayhem. There are a lot of folks that would be outside if the weather was not so brutal. So the amount of chaos in Minneapolis will significantly increase as temperatures climb. Temperatures above 30, above 40, you probably double the participants in this. So I'm asking, should the Trump administration halt this operation in Minneapolis, considering how much chaos it is causing in an American city? This is spreading worldwide. People know what's going on in that city around the world. Is it worth it? Last but not least, I have to ask you folks, This is going to be an opinion. This will be your analysis because I don't think any of us know what the hell's going on. It's not like the Trump administration has made this clear. But the question is, what do you think the goal is in Minneapolis? What is the goal? What are they exactly? What are they trying to accomplish? What is success? What point do we get to where they say we have successfully completed our goals and now we're going to withdraw the agents? What does success look like? I'd be curious to know your opinion on that. So you guys know how the show is ran. Another dark day in politics. I wasn't going to go on, but goddamn, some of the things that happened. So we had to come on here. I wanted to talk to the folks, get the pulse of how you folks are feeling, because I'm still kind of in the air about it. Investigation has not been complete. So I don't want to condemn the officer, but I do question why the federal government is stonewalling everybody in terms of the investigation. As you know how the program is ran, we don't block, ban, or censor anyone. This is uncensored programming. We are MAGA friendly, always have been, always will be. Liberals are welcome on the program as well. We go left of Bernie Sanders till I'm having dinner with Q. So you can be critical of anybody on this program, any issue on this program. You can be critical of even yours truly. We don't block, ban, or censor. So this is uncensored programming. So looking in the comments right off the bat, a smart president would do that. However, we are lacking a smart president, says Michelle Lane. So you're saying a smart president would call this off until we get some calm in a major American city. But you're saying that Trump is not a smart president. ICE is in a lot of cities. That is true, Uncle Ben. But in Minneapolis, there's 3,000 agents. They don't have that number in most other cities. Stonewall, it only happened like 6 hours ago. No, it didn't. No, because they stonewalled the investigation into the killing of Renee Good as well. They didn't give them access to that either. That didn't happen 6 hours ago unless you got a broken watch. No, it's not just this shooting. They've stonewalled on all of them. So I think you're getting that one wrong. Doesn't Minnesota have a governor? Isn't that responsibility of the governor of Minnesota? You know something? Normally it is, but I want to ask the final question before I start taking callers. Tap the screen, get us up to 15,000. You guys know how the program is ran. And help your boy out with the TikTok cap go. I got to ask that. That's what we normally do. Considering that the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the BCA folks showed up. This is a state organization, showed up and got stonewalled by the feds, even though they had a judicially signed warrant by a federal judge. I'm asking a question, and this could be for the future going forward. This is nothing to do with Minneapolis, but this is a question we're going to have to tackle probably in the near future. Simply put, what happens when an administration refuses to follow judicial orders? We need to answer that. We need to discuss that. What happens if a judge rules against the administration and they just says, who gives a damn? We're going to keep doing this. Because that's what's happening here in Minneapolis. And if it's happening in Minneapolis, this won't be the last time it happens. So what do we do going forward if the administration is ordered to do something by a judge or receives a negative ruling from a judge and they just simply tell the courts, fuck off? That's what we could be dealing with going forward, because that's what we're dealing with now. So looking in the comment section, the Supreme Court 6 have fucked us all, says Shadow. Wow. We'll see what happens. Billionaires will always protect billionaires, no matter the political party. I think there's some validity to that. ICE arrests little children. They're going to say if you're here illegally, it doesn't matter what age you are. I saw no weapon that could cause a massacre to bulletproof clothing. I don't think anybody saw a weapon at all is what we're discussing. Anyway, we'll go straight to the box and start out with Cass. Good afternoon, Cass. Minnesota under siege. Do you see this as a legitimate operation or something sinister or something more? Cass, good afternoon.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Well, I think it falls on first Trump, right? I think it's a like kind of a given because he's so outspoken about like this ICE operation that he gets his own base riled up in it, and then he also riles up the people who are against him. So he's like really the face of it. So I think most of the blame falls on him. But then I also think it also goes to like the local politicians in Minnesota as far as like Tim Walz. I think he doesn't do anything. He doesn't make it any better by not helping like the citizens of his state by saying, allow these federal agents to do their work. Don't try to impede them just because you disagree with
They
them.
are saying that. They are saying don't fall for the trap. They're making both Tim Walz and Mayor Fry of Minneapolis have both said they're trying to provoke you. Do not fall for it. They have said exactly what you're talking about.
No, I agree. I think in the aftermath of these things, right? I think in the aftermath of these things, after they good and after this unfortunate one that we've seen today, absolutely, right?
No, they've been saying that for at least a few weeks now. That ain't something they just saying. They've been saying that.
Fair is right. I just don't want to seem like I'm criticizing like.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Criticizing the other. But like after like dissecting the video today, like watching it over and over, you said it wasn't clear if he had like a weapon on him, but it is like I'm not really sure like how much you've been keeping up with it because like every hour or so there's like a new angle of it coming out.
So have you seen the video? Have you been able to clearly see a firearm?
Yeah. The guy with the red hat and the gray jacket, he takes it off of him. And then shortly after that, that's when we see it happen.
But was the firearm in the guy's hand aimed at the officer? Did he reach for it?
No. The officer took it off of the person. Like,
okay, well, having a firearm on you is not against the law, is it?
At all. At all. I agree. This man was executed in cold blood. I thought this was an extreme abuse of power. This like on the highest level, and even with like the Renee Good thing, we'll get this initial statement from like DHS and like our government to say, oh, this is how it looked. And then as we see these videos and we see it unfold, it's like, this is not what happened. Like, like these people acted in a way that is not professional, and it's 1,000% an abuse of power, which only justifies the people of Minnesota being out there protesting.
So what do you think the goal is of this? Why do you think Trump flooded that area with so many? What is the stated goal of this? What is the purpose of doing this?
Honestly, I really think it's like a litmus test. It's to see how people react to like this level of like military state, see how receptive people are. So
you believe Minneapolis may indeed be a litmus test for other American cities?
Yeah, I feel like it's always been a litmus test from the beginning. When it started in DC, I live in the DMV, right? I'm from DC, and I thought like this initial thing all started here, and it's been like a test to see how cities or how groups of people would react to like this type of engagement. This type of presence of ICE, and like will they perceive them as like authority? Will there be pushback? What will happen if something bad happens? I think it's all like truly like.
So you almost make it sound like the president is trying to deliberately destroy American cities. Do you think he's trying to? I mean, based on what I'm hearing from you with this litmus test, trying to see if something really bad happens, you kind of paint a picture as if Trump is literally trying to destroy American towns.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is it does not start with Trump. It does not end with Trump. I think politics has always functioned in this manner. They will use like tragedy as like what is it called? Vanity. They would use like certain situations to push their own goals. They do this like
but this ain't never happened before. We've never had a town flooded with agents like even under Obama, who you often hear the right point to as having somewhat similar deportation tactics to Trump. You never seen an American city flooded with agents where it's 5 times as many agents as it is in the local police.
Well, okay, see now we start talking about I agree. We have not seen like federal agents deployed in this manner, right? But we have always seen over policing of impoverished neighborhoods in times of like
Yeah.
conflict. You
Yeah.
know, over.
But there was no conflict here, though. This is the reason for the conflict. Before ICE went to Minneapolis, there was no conflict.
Well, like like let's say like would you agree that like if they deploy like the National Guard, it'd be the equivalent? Like the National Guard being deployed to like places like um when there becomes like a presence because of like an emergency that's going on, like around the George Floyd thing and the protests, right? Like we've seen like this level of like quote unquote preventiveness or presence.
But that's the
as
point.
explicit as ICE.
You are
But
correct. You are correct. But that's the point I'm making is generally when we deploy a federal organization, there is chaos already on the ground. You brought up ICE. Sometimes it's during natural disasters, but something is happening there before the federal agency comes. They are a respondent to what is going on. In this case, there was nothing going on. They are the reason what's happening is taking place.
Yeah, I agree. They are inciting violence. I will absolutely like go that far and say like our federal government is inciting violence on the streets of America. Like when you get on TV and you hear somebody like Kristi Noem speaks, and it's almost like she's working with like this level of like she's stretching the truth so far that it really looks like she's lying. Like it's like moving from like plausible deniability to just like outright like lying and just denying the truth.
So you believe that the Christian, because there's some Democrats that are suggesting that Kristi Noem should be impeached. Sounds like you agree with that. Did I lose you there, Cass? Apparently, I lost my caller. We'll go ahead and move on. Tap the screen, by the way. Get the likes on up to 25,000. We'll take the next caller. Looking in the comments, Minnesota is not close to the southern border. No, it's not, but that doesn't mean it could not have significant issues just because it's not close to the border. Shadow says he's gone good. What do you mean by that? Tap the screen. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goal. You guys know what I'm going to ask. The guy on the phone what does that say? The guy on the phone is like, duh, not giving up. I don't quite get what you mean by that. All across the country and not do anything and say you are the best country on earth. Usually great countries don't shoot their citizens in the face. Damn. Coming from Pistola 1007. Wow. Usually great countries on earth what does that say? Saying that you're the best country on earth, which is what Trump is saying, that America's the hottest country on the planet. He's saying usually great countries don't shoot their citizens in the face. Wow. Impeach, remove the king dictator, save the democracy and the justice, says Chris. Of course, Kristi Noem should be impeached, says Patrick. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do want to go back to the last question I asked you folks. Should something like an impeachment come down the line towards Kristi Noem? What do you do if an administration just refuses to follow adversarial rulings? Let's say Kristi Noem is impeached and the Trump administration says, so what? I'm going to let her keep serving. I don't believe the impeachment was held properly. Love the cruise? Yeah, starting it out right. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Because, listen, there is a guy that has just a regular guy. So it ain't nothing to say is the gospel truth or anything like that. But there's a regular guy on the TikTok app that is claiming that a civil war is going to take place in America. And he says in 2027. So he's saying next year. What he is suggesting, and I'll get back to taking callers. Tap the screen, get us up to 25,000. We'll take the next caller at that. Let your thumbs not be lazy. He's saying that the midterms are going to be less than successful for the Republican Party. And his belief is that the Democrats will immediately move to impeach President Trump. He believes they will be successful and they will have enough of a victory to get Trump removed from office. He follows up by saying Trump does not adhere to negative rulings against him. His belief is that The ruling will come down that Trump is to be removed from office, and Trump is just going to refuse to follow the ruling and stay anyway. And he believes that is what will spark some sort of civil unrest. Having a president in office that is no longer legitimate. Now, that is frightening. I'm not going to say I subscribe to it, but I will agree with one part. Trump does not adhere to adversarial rulings. I think that's pretty obvious. Certainly with what we're discussing right now. If a judge rules against Trump, Trump ultimately decides whether or not he's going to follow it. I think there is more than enough evidence to prove that part. So if he is impeached and refuses to step down, hopefully that doesn't happen. I can't speak on that part, but I do agree that he don't follow rulings if he don't like them. Anyway, moving on with the comments. It tap the screen, get us up to 25,000. By the way, if you enjoy uncensored dialogue from all sides of the aisle, that's what we do here. There is zero censorship. If you're watching us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, follow the program. If you're watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. We're here most weekdays. It's a dangerous time right now, says Barb Caroline. Well, if what we're seeing spreads to other cities, I concur. Military personnel will do their job when his term is up, regardless. You do realize a lot of military personnel are MAGA. Listen, you could fracture the military. Just like on January 6th, there's a reason why a lot of those cops let the folks in peacefully. Likely, some of those cops were MAGA and believed that the protesters were fighting the good fight. Stood down and let them in. That's my opinion. That's just my opinion. I believe that any cop seen on video letting protesters in the Capitol on January 6th should have had to testify before Congress why they didn't do their job. There was no order to just let people in. So why are you doing it? Your job was to defend the Capitol building. You don't look like you're defending in this video. You're letting people in. They should have had to testify before Congress as to why they were doing that. Looking in the comments, clearly you are intelligent and ignorant or wanting attention, says Richard Estrada. I appreciate your input, but with all due respect, your comment doesn't say shit. I'm intelligent based on what? I'm ignorant based on what? I'm wanting attention based on what? Your comment, I repeat, doesn't say shit. You got a whole paragraph worth of space. Put some goddamn meat on the bread. Let me know what you're thinking. I don't give a shit if it's insulting. Looking in the comments, global leadership are fed up with Trump's indecisiveness on Ukraine, failure in Gaza, and it seems trouble at home. It is, we are dealing with trouble at home. There's no denying that. Are we at 25,000? Going to the box again. Love to Cruise. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Hopefully, now, have you seen the actual shooting, Love to Cruise?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen it.
But you've heard about
I've
it.
seen the headlines. And, yeah, I heard about it. I had a chance to watch the video. I'm fed up, man. I'm tired. I didn't want to see anybody else just get killed like that. So I haven't watched the video.
What about the notion that he was an armed assailant and they had to do it in self-defense?
If that's the case, I would have to see how he's armed. Did he pull his gun out and he's actually pointing at him? Or is the gun holstered at his side or in his glove compartment? I would have to see actually how is he armed and what was going on. But if it's in his glove compartment or underneath his seat or even on his side,
it's legal.
that doesn't have reason.
Yeah.
You don't shoot a man for that.
But what about the notion? Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Okay.
Please.
What about the notion that the Trump administration, Kristi Noem is due to speak shortly, or she may be speaking now. I'm looking on the TV, but they're saying that he did use his gun in a threatening way. Do you not trust what's coming from the Trump administration?
No, I don't. The same way they said the lady ran over the guy. I don't trust them. And if they were trustworthy, Why wouldn't you let those people? I heard you speaking about the people. The judge had the federal.
Yeah.
They had a federal judge.
Yes.
If you don't have nothing to hide, then why not let them in? And it was my understanding all these, the FBI and CIA and local police, and all of them work together anyway.
Yeah.
Why are they separate all of a sudden? ICE.
You know, you raise a good point, because that's something you often hear, particularly on the right, when a person refuses to cooperate with police or not let them search your car. If you got nothing to hide, why don't you just let them in? That's a great point, what you just said. Yeah, if you got nothing to hide, just let them search it. Why do you think that they are not? Go ahead.
If it's a legit shooting, you know, they'll let them in. They'll let them see it. There's nothing to hide. And as far as why, I think we forgot about Trump's promise. The one promise that he's keeping in his eyes is to make America great again.
Yeah.
And all of this is just a plot and a plan to start it. Now, the reason, my personal reason, I could be wrong, of course. The reason it's Minnesota is because Trump carries a grudge and is against Tim Walz. So why not attack his state starting off?
So you believe Trump has a beef with the governor of Minnesota. So to answer that beef, he's going to attack the entire city state representing millions of Americans?
Exactly. He ran for it all. Let me tell you what opened up the gates. They were supposed to be going in there for the Somalians, correct?
The Somalis, yes.
And right. So in the process of doing that, why not go ahead and punish Tim Walz? He ran for vice president. He's part of the Harris ticket. We can't get Harris isn't in charge of no state. We can't get at her anyway. So you're going to get it now, buddy.
Yeah, but what about the notion that there's a ton of Minnesotans that voted for Trump? I mean, look, and I seen the comments, Bad Lieutenant, that was a good movie, by the way. Bad Lieutenant says, Mister, please tell me you are not rage baiting to get views. Do I need to be online to piss people off about what took place? You think most of America's watching me? They're pissed off without me. But I appreciate the input.
Trump is giving all the ammunition you need.
Right.
Trump is giving you all the ammunition you need.
Right. You think all of them tens of thousands of people, you think all them tens of thousands of people protesting in Minnesota are pissed off because of me? You think I'm causing that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I seen all the signs saying handsome liberal. I seen all the picket signs, man, in Minnesota.
Dude, goddamn it, where are my hats and mustaches, my galaxies? I ain't even getting support, yet they got signs up dedicated to me. What the hell?
Yeah, they got handsome liberal. Down with the handsome liberal. I've seen the signs.
Oh,
man.
my God.
No, but yeah, I think this is everything is part of Trump's plan to make America great again, in his eyes. Now, the question is, which he never answered, is when was America great? Now, I can only think what he might think, considering he's an 80-year-old man, is that it was great when blacks were under control and all the whites were in control.
You know you're painting Trump out to be some kind of racist, don't you?
What's that?
You sound like you're painting Trump out to be...
Again?
I said, sounds like you're painting Trump out to be some sort of racist.
Oh, I don't have to paint it. The painting is done. He is a racist, you know? Look here. He is definitely a racist, or he's following Miller and all their suggestions. So you take it. When you got a guy like, what's his name? Generation X or whatever, Gen X.
Gen X, yes.
His dumb ass. Yeah, his dumb ass and what's up with the other dumbass talks?
But you talking about straight talk. But let me ask you this, because in the comments, the one squib says, if Trump is not racist, why have racist policies? Do you see any policies coming from the president that you deem to be racist?
Yeah, we got rid of DIE.
DEI. Well, the notion, but the belief though is that DEI DEI grants positions to folks that do not have the merit and did not earn it simply due to sexual orientation or skin color. You disagree?
Absolutely. Come on, man. We're part of the black community. Uh, all we're asking for is an equal playing field. How many blacks do you know were trying to be pilots in the first place? And the ones that are pilots, obviously, are legit. You know, it isn't like there's a mad rush of people with sixth grade education trying to be pilots. And I'm just using that as one example.
It sounds like you're speaking in regards to the late Charlie Kirk, but keep going.
Yeah, well, I am. You know, he got all that shit in their heads. So that's just one thing they did, just trying to remove and take away the even. All we want is an even playing field. If he's better than me, fine. Okay, hire him. If we're the same, then give me the same considerations.
Do you
And
believe
don't just
though?
hire me because you're
But Love the Cruise, it is 2026. Do you believe the playing field remains uneven for people of color in
absolutely,
2026?
absolutely,
Explain. Elaborate.
absolutely.
Elaborate. Because there are blacks doing everything now.
Pardon me?
I said there are blacks doing everything now. They're working in all fields. How is it unequal in 2026 for people of color?
Yeah, we are working and we have made some advancements. But the fact that you still took away all our programs and everything lets you know that they don't want it to be equal. They want us to fight from behind. They want the advance. When you got white guys talking about what's that, reparations and all, give me a fucking break. Really? What do the white guys have reparations for? What, hanging blacks? You know what?
Well, the notion
I mean,
is,
come on, man.
I'll explain it. The idea is that DEI has granted blacks, women, and members of the LGBTQ community positions where the white male may have been more qualified for, but didn't get it because of DEI. In fact, the Trump administration, thank you there, Molly. Yeah, I appreciate the hat mustache. The Trump administration is now advising white males in particular that if you feel you've been discriminated against, to file some sort of discrimination lawsuit.
So what about when we feel we're discriminated against? What do we do now?
Well, we've already been filing them, have we not? I mean, I think blacks have already been
Yeah,
filing
and
suits.
apparently not. Let me tell you, and to all your people in the chat and everything, this don't go out to everybody. So please, everybody doesn't take offense. White people are scared of black people because we naturally, if we put our mind to things, we produce. They destroy our family. They don't want us to get an education. They put drugs in our community. All these things are to hold us down. And that's the fear that they
That's
have
a
of us.
bit. That's a bit old. Let me just point out. There's a hell of a lot of white liberals now in Minnesota fighting on behalf of the Somalis that they believe are being mistreated. I think it's kind of wrong to throw all whites in that community because they're only killing white people in Minnesota. Those are not blacks that are
See,
losing their lives there.
You didn't listen to what I said.
Okay.
I said to people that were listening. If
You
they-
did say that. You did say that. You're right. You did say that. You prefaced it with that.
Okay. Yeah, I did say that because I know there are some white people, and there are some cool white people. There really are, who don't have a racist bone in their body and who treat everybody equal. And I have no problem with them. I have problems with Gen X and straight dumb.
You're breaking up. Okay, apparently he's got something going on too. We're moving on. Apparently it's either me. You guys let me know. Are you able to hear the program okay? Because that's the second caller that dropped out. Luis Miguel says exactly. Let me know. Joel says make you wonder. What about Gangsta Granny? Apparently there are a lot of people that really look forward to hearing from Gangsta Grandma. I see that in the comments. Okay, so everybody can hear me. Looking in the comments. I got to put on my spectacles. You know, eyesight comes with age. I find I find not funny that his generation of individuals want reparations, yet they're writing on the coattails of those who actually suffered. Do something for yourself instead of acting entitled. But here's the problem with that. Do the Evolution 78? You're talking about they're riding on the coattails of those who actually suffered. You know, you do realize MLK Day just passed, and Trump did not even acknowledge Martin Luther King. So you're talking about those who suffer. We're not even giving acknowledgement to the people you believe actually suffered. Trump is removing, folks, slaves, information about slavery and things like that from the Smithsonian and all of that. So even the people that actually suffered, he's making it so you don't know about them either. And I'm talking about people, that may have passed on dozens, if not 100 or so years ago. He's removing information about that as well. So it ain't just modern day people you are suggesting feels entitled or any of that. He's doing it. He's doing it to the entire experience. You say Gen X is trash, yet at the same time, your generation needs Tide Pods. You may want to reconsider your statement. Look, I'm not even going to get into the Tide Pod thing. I mean, you can pick out 5 dudes that you've seen huffing spray paint under a bridge and try to suggest that everybody that looked like them are huffing. That's crazy. Well over 99.99999% of Americans do not eat Tide Pods. You found something that a handful of people have done, and you're trying to blame the entire society or one group. I mean, it's an insane argument to begin with. Looking in the comments, what are your thoughts on the Minnesota shooting? My thoughts in particular, before I go to the next caller, tap the screen, get us on up to 45,000. My thoughts on the Minnesota shooting involves what this individual from the BCA said. I don't know if all you folks heard this, so I will give it another go briefly before taking on the next caller. This is the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. That's what BCA stands for. Here's the spokesman giving an earlier press conference, because this shooting is now probably, 5 or 6 hours old.
Federal levels. This morning, I was in contact with the Minneapolis Police Department after the incident that you're all familiar with now. They requested our Force Investigations Unit respond to the scene and conduct such an independent investigation as we have in other recent incidents in the city of Minneapolis. What occurred was our team responded to the scene, and I was in contact with federal authorities to inform them that that was going to occur and that we were responding to the scene in Minneapolis. When our team arrived, they were blocked by federal agents with the Department of Homeland Security from accessing the scene.
And that's my point. That's my point. When you ask what is my opinion on this shooting in Minnesota, I'm going to start out by saying an investigation needs to conclude. So I'm not going to convict or exonerate the officer that shot the person, but I am hesitant to just give the officers the benefit of the doubt when they're stonewalling a state investigator. Why would they do this? Why would you prevent the state organization from having any access to the scene? Now, they did the exact same thing in the investigation of the shooting into, what was her name? Renee Nicole Good as well. And as you see, what has turned out is they're doing no investigation of that officer at all. They decided to do an investigation on the partner of the deceased. So, as opposed to condemning or giving the officer a justifiable shooting, I'm going to go straight at the federal government and ask, why are they stonewalling? Why are they doing this? If there was no ill activity taking place, why all the secrecy? One of the things that we often give Trump credit for in doing so many press conferences, often standing and taking questions for hours, is we give him credit for being transparent. That shit is not happening in Minnesota. There is no transparency taking place by the federal government in Minnesota. They're doing the opposite of transparency. This is all about a host of secrecy. And that alone is a legitimate reason to cause suspicion into what they're doing. They're investigating themselves and not telling you shit. Not to mention they're speaking out in the first few moments of these events and saying things that are not true, such as in the case of Renee Nicole Good claiming that the officer got ran over. That didn't happen. Even if you believe that what he did was justified in with Renee Nicole Good, he didn't get ran over. There was no reason, I believe President Trump and or Christy Nome used those words. There was no reason to say that. You can clearly see the video. The guy was not ran over. So if they're the only ones doing the investigation and they're making statements like that, there's a reason to be suspicious of them. That's the point. Without even talking about whether or not the shooting was justified. The wording coming from the Trump administration is biased and nothing short of terrible. In the comment section, videos make it seem like it was at least two shooters on an unarmed man who had been just filming them. Like I said, I'm not going to go down the road of what the video suggests. I'm going to go down and ask, why is the Trump administration blocking a state organization that has a federal warrant that gives them access to the scene? Why are they doing that? I need some MAGA to even discuss that with, because I don't understand that. Why is that happening? How is that right by any stretch of the imagination? How is that right to do that? Bullfrog, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. That is true. The agent was never run over. The vehicle was never, it was never, that agent did not get ran over. There's no reason for the Trump administration to come out and say that agent got ran over. Don't know what just happened with my last caller, but how did the same officer got hit in the hospital after getting ran over? He didn't get, you don't need to know what happened. You can see the video and see nobody got ran over by Renee Nicole Good. You can see that. The white liberal, this and that bit.
We worked with them and we're
what
in
does that
contact
say?
with
What do the white lib and white conservative in common? Racism. I'm not even going down that road. Real quick in the comments, disarmed pepper spray, threat was neutralized, and they still shot him. Damn. I haven't seen the video of him actually using a firearm in an illegal way. I've heard that come from the Trump administration, but I haven't seen any video. Maybe some of you guys have. Mia's Adventure says, yeah, that video is very obvious, and then after he's unalived, he unalived her, he cussed. Oh, yeah, the young one in the comment in regards to Renee Nicole Good. Video was clear he was ran over. No, it's not. He got ran over by a SUV and never lost his balance? Really? That's amazing. Didn't even drop his cell phone, huh? It's pretty awesome. What is he, one of the Incredibles? He got ran over by, as you folks on the right are talking about, a 2,000 or 6,000 pound vehicle. You guys are even quoting the weight of her vehicle. That ran over a man that never even touched the ground. It's amazing. It's amazing. What the hell is he made out of? I need to hang out with him. There is no video of him using a firearm, you mean. He got a bump, if any contact. True. Got ran over by a 6,000 pound vehicle and didn't even spend a night in the hospital. What the hell is he made out of? I need to know. What is he eating? Let me hang out with that dude. Tim is not a Trump supporter. He just uses that background as clickbait. Not clickbait, Aaron. It's legit. I believe that the Republicans, conservatives, and certainly MAGA don't get a fair play in the media. So when you're here, we make it clear you are allowed to speak your piece without any concern of being blocked, banned, or censored. No, it doesn't. No, it does not dictate my politics. It dictates we're all about free speech here. You don't have to come to this program wondering, well, I'm MAGA, he's not going to let me talk. That's not how we do it here. You'll be allowed to speak without censorship. I'll go back to the box and see if we can bring up another caller. Don't know what's been going on with the viewers. We'll try with Papa Philippe. Good evening. Welcome to the program. We got a problem with the viewers coming up. Let's try it again with Gangsta Grandma. Love you, Tim. That's awesome. That's the way we all Americans should treat each other. Yeah. If MAGA sees the hat as clickbait, then that means you guys really are in the cult. If all I got to do is wave a MAGA hat and it's suddenly like I become the Pied Piper and you fall, then that's an indication of what you're trying to suggest is that we're somehow cult members. That was never what the hat behind me was supposed to mean. So if the hat becomes clickbait, you're making it sound like you're pretty easy to dupe. Let me go. I'm having real trouble. Let's try it one more time here with James Harper. I don't try to bring up multiple guests. I may have to reset the live. James Harper, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Tim.
Okay, don't know what happened. I tried to bring up multiple guests. Okay, have you seen the video of the actual encounter?
Yes, I did.
Your analysis,
And
what was it justified in your opinion?
no, it wasn't. First off, it was multiple people on top of him. He didn't pull out no gun. In fact, the gun was holstered, and one of the agents pulled the gun off of him and removed it, and then he got shot.
So you're saying he was armed, they disarmed him, and then shot him afterwards?
He had it was the gun there, and they pulled it off, but he didn't pull the gun out. They made not only did they first they attacked the woman, and he was right there trying to like stop them. They maced him, pulled him away from the woman, threw him down, and they pinned him. And that's I guess one of them saw the gun, pulled it away, and then one of them that's when they started shooting.
I would love to see a clip of that because Patriot Preacher is in the comments saying what you're stating is a lie. He suggests a body camera shows the gun in the guy's right hand.
They don't even have body cameras. What is he talking about?
It's a good point.
Name one time you seen any altercation with ICE and you saw a body cam. They don't have it.
No, that's not true. The guy who took out Renee Nicole Good had a body camera on. Or he had his phone. He had his phone. He had his phone. Yeah, he had his phone. That is true. That is true. He had his phone. Yeah, you're right. Then they don't have any body cam. You are right. They don't have body cam. So I don't know what he's talking about.
Tim, when have you ever seen any law enforcement have their phone out and then decide, and then not only had the phone out, but had the phone out in their weapon hand?
Yeah, I don't understand that for a few reasons. First of all, okay, they upped the budget for ICE from $8 billion to $28 billion. Yet with this huge colossal budget that is more than any other law enforcement agency in America, they don't have uniform cars. You're talking about they don't have body cams. Even their clothing is not uniform. Where the hell is all the money going?
The reason why they're doing that because they want to up the size of ICE. You want to know why they want to up size ICE? Because they've already been told you cannot deploy the National Guard in the way that they were trying to deploy the National Guard, which means that the show of force that Trump's been using to intimidate people he can't use. So he's got to build up ICE to be the comparable size of the Army.
I mean, I get all of that, but not having consistent uniforms, vehicles, or wearing body cams, and you got an increase of $20 billion to your budget?
ICE was never meant to be that size.
I'm not hearing a legitimate reason for why they don't have cars and uniform. I mean, how much does a uniform cost?
They don't have that because it is they weren't worried about none of that. Like ICE was only supposed to be meant for like small deportation force. This grand upsizing, they're just bringing.
Okay, well, it's been in place now. Since the big beautiful bill passed. I mean, even if it wasn't meant to be as large, okay, it's here now. Why are they not getting uniforms and cars and shit that clearly marks them?
Because their leadership is spending that money, and they're spending it on frivolous things. Chrissy Nolan is, in fact, I just saw a report talking about they're already like looking like they're going out of budget. That's why they're pressing for this extra money. They're spending that money all and not helping the agencies or anything. In fact, they're not even getting these agents trained like they're supposed to.
So, and yet you still believe that? So you believe they're spending the ICE budget on something else, not on ICE?
Not on the agents, no.
Yeah, you know something, to me, I'm not going to say I agree with you or disagree, but it doesn't make sense why they don't have cars that are clearly marked, they don't have uniforms, and they don't have body cams. That stuff is relatively inexpensive. when you talk about the size of the budget. So I don't know if they're spending the money on other stuff like you're saying, but something don't look right. That makes no sense. All the other entities, all the other federal organizations have uniformity. I don't understand. I mean, they're walking around in various different ski masks. It's like they're literally going out and buying their own shit like they're subcontractors.
Right. Because basically, in fact, in order to get so many people in, I guarantee you they lowered the threshold. In fact, you've seen it with some of the people that they said got in the ICE. That activist that was against ICE, how she became an ICE agent. They basically put the standards for ICE agents in hell in order for them to get into the program.
Yeah. Now I said something on one of my shorts, and I want to ask you about this, and I'll certainly ask the viewers in the audience as well. I mentioned how inexpensive it is to go out and buy a pair of fatigues or khakis or, cargo pants. I also mentioned how easy it is to get your hands on a tactical vest. You can get it from any military surplus store, probably can get it from Amazon, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously getting a balaclava or a ski mask is as easy to find as a can of Coke. Not to mention open carry is legal in most parts of the country as well. So the question I asked is, how might things change if we all went out in the street dressed like a militia or like ICE? Because as long as you don't have ICE on you or some kind of badge, the clothing they're wearing is 100% legal. And many of them do not have ICE or a badge on them. So how might things be if everybody just went out and put on a tactical vest, a pair of cargo pants or military fatigues, and a balaclava? You think things would change?
There's actually been people who've been arrested for impersonating ICE.
How can you, if you don't put any like FBI or ICE, if you don't put those identifying letters and you don't wear a badge, you're not identifying yourself as anything. You got Proud Boys and Oath Keepers and militiamen wear that shit all the time. How is it perpetrating ICE?
Those are the people who joined ICE. The leader of the Proud Boys is actually listed as an ICE agent.
Yeah, Enrique Torres. He is a member of ICE. But I mean, serious though. Right. So you think you still might get arrested if you dress like a militiaman and wore that?
You can, but it would take police officers actually doing their job and you getting reported.
Well, what you going to report? There's a guy that walked down the street in khakis and a tactical vest with a ski mask on. All of that is 100% legal. You could do that before ICE came to Minnesota. Legally, you're still allowed to do that. That's 100% legal.
Yeah, but if you're going around harassing people,
No, I'm not saying harassing anybody. I'm not saying harassing anybody. I'm just saying you want to get around in public without getting fucked with so much. So you can't beat them. I'm just going to dress just like them. So I'm driving down the street in a balaclava and everything just like they doing.
I mean, yeah, you can do that, but at the same time, who really has? Well, I can't say who has the time and energy because obviously MAGA does.
Yeah. What about this though? In the comments, Damian Davis points out. He says the Trump administration is trying to push martial law so Trump can run again. Do you believe that that's at the root of any of this?
He said himself, I think it was a couple weeks ago when people first started protesting because of Renee Good. The first thing he said was, "I'm thinking about activating the Insurrection Act."
The man will be 83 years old in 2028. You really think he would try to run for president from the ages of 83 to 87?
He likes being in charge. Of course he'd do it.
You think? Well, let me ask you a more sensible question. Would the Republican Party in MAGA favor letting an 83-year-old, after Sleepy Joe Biden, would they favor letting an 83-year-old, which is older than Biden, would they favor letting somebody that old rule the country?
Look how Trump is acting now and how they're sitting there. All they have to do is make him think whatever they want to do is his idea, and he'll go for it.
So, so you're really making Trump sound inept the way you're talking.
Does he not sound inept whenever he talks?
No, I mean Trump is coherent a lot of times. I mean, I don't always agree with what he
No,
says,
no,
but
don't start fluffing, Tim. Gates
I'm-
and Grandma's in the car. She's here. Don't do it.
I tried to bring Gangsta Grandma up. She's not here anymore. Let me just say this. I do believe Trump is coherent often when he speaks. I don't agree with what he's saying. Like when he spoke before the
He goes off. He'll start off one way, and then he'll go off in tangents on something that's unrelated to the issue.
unrelated. But you still understand him. When he spoke in Switzerland this week, I listened to all 2 hours of that shit, or hour plus of it. I understood him. I didn't agree with everything he said, but he's coherent.
And also, he over evaluates like America as far as like being able to stand on our own. The fact that like he keeps saying like, oh, we don't need these countries, we can do this all ourselves. But every day you hear about pharmacists and businesses losing money hand over fist. In fact, remember you was in Vegas. What did you say? It was quiet.
Yeah, Vegas, but Vegas also has a lot of its own problems. I think corporate greed, the cost of eating and just enjoying having a good time in Vegas has went up astronomically. I've been going there since the 90s, and it is astonishing how much food and things, like a cup of coffee is $7. Cheeseburgers like $19, $20. It didn't used to be like that.
But before Trump came in and started doing all that shit, Vegas was thriving. Like even though like their prices was up, people were still going out there and buying all the stuff. Once he came in and started fucking shit up, now nobody has the ability to go like do vacations.
I don't think Trump's actions has caused Americans not to go to Vegas. I think what's happening with Vegas due to Trump is the international community is missing. His actions are is pissing off the international community.
Tim, unemployment is up. It's actually doubled since he's gotten up.
You think unemployment? So you believe unemployment under Trump has doubled in the last year?
It's. I know for the black community, yes, it's doubled, and I think as America as a whole, it's gone up. Yes.
I don't know if it's that bad. And real quick in the comments, somebody, Justin Perez says Trump can run again anyway, not against the law to run. It is against the Constitution. You can't just run. You think if Trump could run for a third term and it wasn't against the law, he would be the first person to do that since FDR? You don't think none of them other people want to run for it?
I'm not trying to hear stupid trolls like you, Stevie.
Yeah, that's correct. Oh, what did Stevie D say? Stevie's a friend of the program. What did he say? He says, the more you talk, the more you show you don't know facts. I would like, listen, this is to all of the viewers, whether you lean left or right. If you're going to criticize someone, which you're free to do on this program because we don't block, ban, or censor, actually state something so that we have something to work with. Calling somebody an idiot or saying they're ignorant or they don't have facts adds nothing because we don't know what the hell you're talking about. So feel free to criticize, but actually say something that leads us somewhere. So, and I don't know why, apparently you got a hater there also, James. I don't know why, because listen, it is what it is. But what do you think the goal is?
It's one of the MAGA people reporting me because I said something to Stevie D.
Yeah.
It was probably Stevie D himself.
Yeah. Could be. And I see in the comments, Paul says, who the fuck wants to fly into Germany in 1935? That's how people here see today's events. Do you see relevance to what's going on now, to the establishment of the Third Reich?
Yes. Like, think about it. Now they say you got to have your papers on you at all times so you don't get messed with by ICE. When have we ever had to do that in America? Well, no, I take it back. Back in slavery times, when there were free slaves, they had to walk around with their papers all the time so they wouldn't get grabbed.
Why do you think MAGA is all about the Constitution and making sure the country maintains its integrity like the founding fathers intended? Why do you think MAGA's not saying anything? Whoa, Blue One, shit, thank you. Why do you think MAGA is not saying anything about what you just pointed out, the idea that folks are being required to walk around with actual papers on them?
Because they don't think that stuff is true. They think we're all making this stuff up when it's actually being said.
Hell, even Joe Rogan is pointing it out. They favor Joe Rogan. Even Joe Rogan is talking about it now.
Yeah, and every time you mention something bad about Trump, what they say, oh, you're making it up. It's not true. You got TDS.
I cannot tell you how many times, while you've been talking, Blue One, thank you. While you have been talking, people have been saying you got TDS. I don't look. I hear TDS so damn much. You know, you hear folks say that people of color, particularly African Americans, throw around the word racism so much that it has no meaning. TDS is in that same damn category. You could talk about Trump didn't look like he was feeling well today, and somebody would say you got TDS. TDS is in that category as well.
Tim, there was a guy in the comments that was talking about how when you were talking about MLK, in fact, that dude, Patriot Preacher, he was talking about he wasn't Christian, he was a Marxist. And I'm sitting there like, how's he not a Christian when he's literally a reverend? His doctrine is in theocracy.
I don't listen. Even if MLK was a Marxist, which I don't subscribe to that, but even if he was a Marxist as opposed to a Christian, I can't think of anyone in the 20th century that did more for African Americans than him. So if it took for Marxists, I'm running with that.
According to MAGA, it's Trump. According to MAGA, it's Trump. He's done more. He's done more for black people than anybody else.
Well, Trump did say that himself. He's done more for blacks than anyone since Abraham Lincoln. So
Trump thinks he's done more for everybody for everything that's going on.
Trump is the man. I'm telling you, Trump knows how to sell himself like no other. And Portia Mac, appreciate the hat mustache. Listen, there is no better personal salesman than Trump. Say what you want about Trump. That man could sell ice to Eskimos. He is an excellent salesman.
And you're right. There's gullible people in every group. There's always going to be somebody that's going to buy what he's selling.
Call it what you want. It works. I can't hate on the guy. That guy is, when you leave his rallies, you feel energized. Like I said, I've been to a couple of his rallies. The people are energized when they leave there. They didn't walk out of Kamala Harris rallies like that. So the guy is really good at what he does. In terms of what it takes to be a politician, he has an it factor. Because that's what a politician's primary job is to sell himself to the voters. Trump is excellent at that.
Well, part of his selling pitch is the reason why your life is not where it's supposed to be is because of these people, and that's what MAGA is all about. They're about you punishing their so-called the people that's making their lives hard and waiting for like the benefit that they swear is going to happen when these people leave is to come up while he's sitting there getting money hand over fist.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree that Trump is selling retribution. Some would call it hate, whatever. But he is absolutely telling the folks on the right, the people that are fucking this country up, if you elect me, I will do something about it. Immigrants, lazy African Americans, Hispanics that are taking resource. I mean, he does sell retribution, not to mention all of the Democrats that wrongfully went after me and weaponized the government. If you elect me, I will go after all of them. He sold it, they bought it, it's a winner.
And the ones that's actually telling them like, hey, since he's been in charge, I'm losing my farm, I'm losing my business because of the policies that he's enacted. What are they saying? Oh, you're full of shit, you're a liberal in disguise, you're a rhino.
Yeah, but like I said though, it is working. Okay, here the mayor. There's a statement that just came in from Trump. I was trying to rewind my television, but apparently Trump is blaming what's going on in Minnesota on the mayor and the governor of Minnesota. He just released a statement. I'll see if I can find it online.
He got mad because Tim Walz activated the National Guard.
How does that work? Are they going to be at odds with the federal agents there? Because Trump could swarm. And, he could swarm that area with enlisted military personnel. So he has more people. Trump has more people at his control than Tim Walz could ever come up with. He doesn't
have the authority. That's why he's upping the ice ages.
What do you mean? Oh, he doesn't have the authority to. Yeah, but he can, like you said, he can up the ice ages. So he can literally enlist an infinite amount of them. Huh?
That's why he's been upping the ICE agents. Like, it's because he doesn't have the authority to use the military the way he thought he could before. Because
Well,
remember, before he was just like, "Oh, I'm just going to surge. I'm going to surge these National Guards into this city, and they're going to hold the peace for me." And then the courts was like, "No, you can't do that. That's illegal."
yeah, but if he just keeps pumping out new ICE agents, he's essentially creating his own military. So he's kind of going around it with them.
That's exactly why he had to up the budget, because he's trying to get that budget as high as the defense budget.
I gotta say, what he is doing is really creative. I mean, it's working. You know, if they prevent me from using the National Guard or the military, I'll create my own. I got the money, the budget, so I'll just. I mean, what he is doing, it the legal creativity behind it is awesome. I mean, I don't favor it one bit, but the legal creativity behind it is certainly noteworthy.
Yeah, but all those people that's running the sign up under the Trump's new ICE, guess what? They got stipulations, and if they have to stay with ICE for 5 years, or they got to pay back all that money they threw at them in the beginning.
5 years? That's beyond the Trump administration.
Exactly. You notice how a lot of stuff that Trump was trying to do was supposed to be like the big beautiful bill. All that stuff supposed to happen after the midterms, but they're seeing the ramifications now.
What?
All it
Here's what's
they
crazy.
always push this
I,
stuff
I
down the
have
line.
not heard that, but here's what's crazy about that. If you got to, because they offered a $50,000 bonus or signing bonus. If you got to be with ICE 5 years to get that, everybody knows that if a liberal administration comes in after Trump, they're going to get rid of probably all of those agents, or at least 80 to 90% of them. So you won't be around
And
5 years.
why you think they did that?
So he's fucking over the agents too. I gotta move it on, James. Oh my god, I haven't heard that. That's crazy though, because they'll never see that 50 grand.
They've been putting that around like that fine print. On day one, yeah, you're gonna get this. You're gonna get the 50,000, but not up front. You're gonna get it over the years of your term. But if you leave anytime before that term is over with, any money that they gave you, you got to give it back.
So they're either never going to reach their 5 years, or you end up having a liberal get in there, and that liberal would be the one that will have to pay all that money out, so we can blame the expenses on the liberals.
Right. Like basically the stipulations of that the big beautiful bill was supposed to happen in the eventuality that liberals take over. So like when the bad shit started to happen, they could point and say, "See, look, you put them in charge, and all this is happening."
Mm. As they used to say in that 1980s Connect Four commercial, pretty sneaky sis. I gotta move it on though, James. Thanks for coming through.
All right, Tom.
That's a pretty sneaky move. Some of you folks that might not be quite old enough to remember that phrase, pretty sneaky sis. Anyway, looking in the comments, what did you expect? He's a con man. That's a great con though. That is, like I said, what he does. I push back wholeheartedly on folks who suggest that Trump is not a smart man, that Trump is dumb, or the guy is a genius. Now I don't believe that he uses his powers for good. I believe that he often uses his powers for evil, but he's really smart to get you to sign up for a $50,000 bonus, knowing damn well the likelihood of you ever getting it is nil, because the next administration is going to get rid of all of those agents. Not to mention, even under President Trump, let's say Trump somehow gets a third term or whatever the case may be, or J.D. Vance follows him up, or Marco Rubio follows him up. They all have the ability to get rid of those agents before they ever see the fifth year. So, look, we got 70,000 agents that came in under Trump. And now Rubio is concerned that the $50,000 bonuses is going to fuck up his economy, fuck up the deficit even more. Let's hire Elon Musk and start Doge back and start firing them all for performance. Easily could happen. Easily could happen. It's crazy. Crazy. It's a smart man we got in the White House. Looking in the comments though, and I see Mikey says Tim, he doesn't care. Yeah. Hey, Mikey, he likes it. Another 70s reference. Looking in the comments, He's smart or his supporters are just illiterate. Could be a combination. Could be a combination. Tap the screen. Get us on up to 80,000. Help your boy complete that TikTok cap goal. So a few of you guys have been helping out, but not much. Kind of, I get this is a dark program. Once again, another shooting in the city of Minnesota. I want you guys to, Minneapolis rather, I want you guys to hear, to me, this was concerning. I played it earlier. This is not the first, but yet the second statement that came from the BCA guy in Minneapolis that I thought is incredibly concerning, because this could be something that details what we may ultimately go through in the future from the Trump administration that may not have anything to do with what happened in Minneapolis.
So to be clear,
Now he's being questioned at a press conference. I want you to hear his answer. He'll read out what he's been asked.
federal agents?
Yes, that's accurate. The question was, we had a signed warrant and we were still denied access to the scene. That's accurate, correct.
How important is that? And have you had any contact? You said that you understand DHS is leading now. Have you had contact since then? And is there any reason to believe that there was...
No, he's saying he had a signed warrant and they still denied him access. The point we're making here, and I wanted to ask you folks, is what happens going forward if the Trump administration just refuses to follow government orders? And by the way, here's a statement coming from Trump. The mayor and the governor are inciting an insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious, that used to be what Ron DeSantis' term was, instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that has been stolen from the people of Minnesota. So what he is suggesting is that Tim Walz and Mayor Frey of Minneapolis are inciting is an insurrection. So for folks who claim that Trump is trying to do this so that he could somehow, some way impose martial law or something like that, I hope that's not true, but his wording shows that that could be the path we're headed down. He's accusing the mayor and governor of inciting an insurrection. I'll just say this. The mayor and governor, Tim Walz of Minnesota, are no fans of Trump. They've said critical things about Trump, but if what they're saying is inciting an insurrection, how does Trump not fall in the same category? Trump has said language that has been far more volatile than anything Tim Walz or Mayor Frey has said. I mean, we could talk about the speech he gave on, that he hosted on January 6th. But he said all kinds of other stuff since that. If all it takes to incite an insurrection is what has been stated by Tim Walz and Mayor Frey, how does he get a pass for that? I don't understand that. Because he said some very insightful things about punching protesters, punching folks that were at his rallies, talking, punch them in the face, I'll pay your legal fees. He said all kinds of stuff like that. How does he get a pass? Somebody needs to explain that. In the comments, David954 said he said not to be violent, idiot. No, he didn't say that when he told folks to punch a guy at his rally and he would pay his legal fees. You're focusing on go peacefully and patriotically on January 6th. Trump has made all kinds of other violent statements that have nothing to do with January 6th. You don't get to exclude all of that shit while you're pointing out idiots. How about you step on my side? Seems like we both got a little bit of idiocy in us. Let me go back to the box real quick. Swallower gonna swallow. Trump is inciting unrest in all sanctuary cities to justify martial law. I hope you guys are wrong about that shit. I really hope you guys are wrong about that, because that is frightening. He was saying to protect themselves against what? And by the way, in regards to January 6th, I'm not going to have a long conversation on January 6th, but my issue is Trump talks about going to the Capitol peacefully and patriotically, and we're somehow supposed to exclude all the statements made by Giuliani and Steve Bannon, take back your country, and let's have trial by combat. All of those statements were made by guests invited by President Trump. Trump was the host of that speech on January 6th. These are all of his opening acts. They were violent than a motherfucker. But we're supposed to skip over all that, exclude all of those statements, and only pay attention to go peacefully and patriotically. All of that stuff those other people were saying was violent as hell. No mention of that. Let's just focus on go peacefully and patriotically. Yeah. Trump didn't get up there and clear any of that shit and say, don't work, what Giuliani said, he didn't mean that. What Steve Bannon said, you're not going to have a country. And all. No, we didn't mean any of that. We want you to go and protest peacefully and patriotically. No explanation for any of that. You got to skip over all that. Just pay attention to what Trump said about peacefully and patriotically. And that makes sense to them. All fun and games until the billionaires forget to put up drone nets on their mega yachts. What are you suggesting? Somebody's going to get droned? Trial by combat could be interesting. I mean, could be, but it is the word combat in there. Ain't nothing peaceful about combat. Is the host lying about what happened today? I can't suggest I'm lying because I'm not saying what happened today. I'm literally letting you folks narrate, and I'm playing clips. I haven't said anything about what happened today. My only question is, if it was a justifiable act by ICE, why all the secrecy? Why is the Trump administration being anything but transparent in Minneapolis? They didn't let anybody get involved with the investigation into the death of Renee Nicole Good, and now they're doing the same thing in this case. If all of this stuff is justified, why not get a state government access to it? Whoa! Dang! Ow! Wow! Appreciate that. Haven't seen that in ages. Thank you. Marco as well with the flute, but dick cow shit. Anyhow, let me go back to the box. I think we need to have a conversation. I love that AI data centers don't have anti-drone nets, and that, what is it with the drones? Dig cow, what the fuck? Thank you. Did you see the video?
No, I just seen pieces of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
Well, you are aware that another shooting has taken place in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I did see the clips of it. I didn't see the, I'm not gonna do like MAGA. I gotta see the whole thing from when he woke up in the morning. Like what did he eat for breakfast? I need to know that before I make a judgment on why 4 or 5 people on top of this man could not subdue him to the point that they felt their lives were in danger and that they had to shoot him point blank range in the head.
I mean, listen, I do agree that we should see the whole video, but you're right. At some point, you've seen enough. But what I want to ask, as opposed to just condemning the officer, is why do you believe there is so much secrecy coming from the federal government in regards to these investigations? Just like with Renee Nicole Good, they don't want any outside organization to have any access to this stuff at all. Why are they being so secretive?
Because they don't want this stuff to actually reach the court system.
What do you mean?
That's why they're literally, after every officer involved shooting, there's supposed to be an investigation. No matter if the cop is right, wrong, or indifferent. They are literally saying from the top of the Department of Justice, nothing to see here. Not letting anybody, there's no investigation, there's no ruling on anything. They're just saying we don't see nothing wrong with it, so we're just not going to have an investigation.
Nothing
There's
to see.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And that's kind of a nothing to see here approach. And in the comments, Carrie Brown says agitators cause their own misery. Well, if agitators cause their own misery, why won't you allow other state investigators to have access? If it is 100% justified, explain the level of secrecy and lack of transparency. That's all I'm asking. Not condemning the cops at all. I'm asking, why is there so much secrecy from the Trump administration? But you believe, Dencal, that there is a reason, and that reason is not good.
It's definitely not good. Like that's like us sitting down watching like what happened to Rodney King, but then the other side saying, well, he was trying to get away. We can see what is happening in these situations. They said a man was a licensed carrier, so just by him having a weapon was no reason for them to go on the offensive and think that they had to take his life. I didn't see him, like I said, I just seen a clip of the video. So I don't know if somewhere along the line he drew his weapon or whatever, but the first thing you see from the government, I mean, not even 15 minutes after it happened, a man approached ICE, with his weapon, his 9mm, like,
They wrap it
there's
up
no
quick.
way they
Yeah, they've already referred to him similar to Renee Nicole Good as a domestic terrorist. Their investigations are really fucking quick. But Damian Davis in the comments says, how all this shit in Minnesota? How is the ICE agents in Minnesota benefiting America? That's a great question. And making America better when homelessness and unemployment is at an all-time high. Great question. And Dinka, I would tell you this. USA Today suggests that it costs $18 million per week for what they're doing in Minneapolis. Now, do you see this as the number one issue above the economy, which hasn't been resolved, above health care for Americans, which hasn't been resolved? We've moved Minneapolis to the top of the list. Your take?
Yes, I believe it's quickly becoming the top issue because we're seeing deaths of and these are not of the immigrants. Like I think the country.
Yeah, no kidding. The Somalis are like, damn, they kill. Yeah, the Somalis are like, damn, they killing white motherfuckers. I'm gonna stay in the house.
Exactly. Like it would be. Look, the country could easily stomach it if they were out here, unaliving the worst of the worst, and and they found these American citizens, true and true.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get. Like I said, and I see somebody in the comments. Virginia said, the reason they're being the lack of cooperation with the state. Virginia says, look, federal agents, federal crime, federal laws, not state at all. So, in other words, now, real quick, for anybody that believes that, keep in mind a federal judge signed a warrant giving the state access. So, even if what you're saying is allegedly true, federal agents, federal crime, federal laws, not a state at all, none of that excuses not adhering to a federal signed warrant. None of that excuses that. Why would you ignore a federal judge if it's all this federal shit? So I want to ask you then, Cal, because this is one of the topics of the show. Now this doesn't necessarily have anything to do with Minneapolis, but the fact is, in the case of the BCA going out there and them refusing to give them access, even though they had a federally signed warrant, what do we do in the future if the administration just simply starts refusing to follow orders from judges?
They're already doing it. I don't, they're already doing it. Like I don't know what the remedy is because, like you and I know, our justice system was built on the honor system.
Yeah.
It was built on.
That's a problem.
People respecting the law, and they just assumed that people would just do right. If a judge says something, they just assume that the judge would do something, but the judge really has no real power.
So I guess to some degree, based on what you're saying, and I do agree with most of that, if someone actually was in the White House and they wanted to be a dictator, because the system is ran on an honor system, if they had no honor and they decided not to follow it, they really can't be stopped, right?
Right. The fact of the matter is, everybody believes that we have these three legs of government,
right,
that are supposed to be checks on each other. But if the executive branch controls the law enforcement portion of it, then it doesn't matter what Congress or even the Supreme Court says, because the only way you can affect any accountability is you have to go to the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
And if the Department of Justice is under the executive branch, what in the hell is Pam Bondi going to turn around and say, yes, Mr. President, we're going to have to go ahead and take you in? No, she's going to do whatever he says.
Yeah, it's like literally having your own police force. So even if he violates the law, yeah, you're right. You can't depend on Pam Bondi. They're not going to investigate him or do anything about it. So he essentially, even without the Supreme Court ruling that he has immunity, he essentially has immunity anyway because they're going to. Pam Bondi is working for Trump. She's not working for us.
Right. And then I had the nerve. I was listening to a portion of the Supreme Court when they were having their hearings about Trump being able to fire people on the Fed. And after the rulings that they've already made for Trump, they got the nerve to sit there and say, well, what you're saying to the White House lawyers, what you're saying is that essentially the next president can do the exact same thing or even worse. Like, no shit. Yes, we understand that. That's why you shouldn't have never said that he's got all of this blanket immunity. Because the next person for sure will take advantage of this thing that you said was okay for presidents to take. So now they're trying to say, well, you shouldn't be able to fire the Fed because we don't want the Fed to be controlled by the executive branch. But you just basically said already that they could, assign.
But is there any reason to have concern if you're on the right, if you're MAGA? Is there any reason to have any concern of a future president using some of the tactics of Trump if you don't expect the future president to come down the pipe?
No, I don't expect them to have any issues because they're in their silo. They're with their people. Like, they think they're winning. And so, like, I've told plenty of them. I even told MAGA Reacts and stuff. I'm like, look, it's all fine and dandy till Egypt is now on the chopping block. Like, it's all fine and dandy. You talking about, because he's from Egypt, right? He's Egyptian.
Right.
Yeah, it's all good when they talking about Somalis and they bombing Nigeria and they doing all of this stuff. Till they come get your ass, you gonna be still singing doing the tap dance. I get it. You think you winning, but your turn will come. Everybody is getting the turn under Trump. He don't give a fuck what your nationality is or nothing. You ain't got money. You ain't part of the gang. He done told them, if you keep on looking for the Epstein files, fuck you.
So what do you think yourself? What do you think the goal is of the Trump administration? Because he said it's about making America great. You don't seem to have the same idea, man. So what do you think the goal is of Trump?
Man, the man wants to totally insulate himself, and he wants to be a power broker, if not the king of the world.
Like a Kim Jong-un.
No, he wants to be the one in charge. He wants to be in charge of Putin. He wants to be in charge of...
Oh, you mean like an Adolf Hitler?
He wants to be the king of kings. He doesn't want to
that's
be on
more
that level.
Yeah, that's not Kim Jong-un. That's Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler wanted to be in charge of the world. He wanted to be in charge of other countries in addition to his own.
Did you see his little peace group shit he tried to put together?
You talking about the Board of Peace? What? I got my own opinion, obviously, why I'm laughing. But what do you think of that?
He's got it written in there that he will be the ultimate leader, regardless of if he's the president or not. He's putting together his own little band of pirates, because that's all that was in that signed up for it. He put his own band of little pirates together that says that he gets to maintain control of this organization, and they will be the ones dealing with the UN and NATO after he's out of office.
So the fact that he's trying to continue leading the Board of Peace, starting at the age of 83 after he leaves office, I would submit to you that shows that he still wants to have a significant amount of power beyond the 4 years of presidency. So for folks who are wondering whether he wants to be a dictator, that shows he still wants to be heavily involved with world affairs after 2028.
And he's charging these people $1 billion for admission. What is $1 billion gonna get Uzbekistan?
I don't know. The guy is the guy. I'm going to repeat what I said earlier. The guy is excellent at what he does. I want to be Trump. I envy the guy. Money finds him. Power finds him. Support and loyalty finds him. Say what you want about the guy. Guy is a fucking genius, man. Guy is a genius. Who else do you know that's been that powerful?
I mean, an evil genius, I can give him that. You can call him a genius, I'll call him an evil genius because he's only using his power for himself.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I don't know anyone in Trump's orbit that is, other than his family, that is really benefiting from what he's doing. Certainly not. I don't see the American people benefiting from it, which MAGA disagrees. But I will say he has an incredible amount of power and ingenuity. His genius is great. It is, you're right. Most of his genius is being used to benefit him and his own family and close associates. But nevertheless, he is a genius. The guy is a genius.
I mean, and I will say, I don't believe that all of this stuff is coming out of his brain. I believe it's the people around him that have latched to him. It's the Stephen Millers. It's the what's his other buddy that stole all of the money for the wall?
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, Steve Bannon, the one that also was hanging out with Epstein all this time, and people act like they don't.
Yeah, they even not only is the guy getting paid, they got a lot of young pussy. They've gotten everything. I'm fucking jealous, man. The guy is a genius. I don't want any underage kids. I'll say that, but I'm just simply saying there is nothing that man can do. As one of my viewers is saying, you're just pissed because he's winning all the time. He's beating everybody. The guy is a fucking genius, man.
I don't mind if people win. I just don't want them getting wins off of average everyday Americans. I don't think he should be winning off of us. I don't think he should be collecting. I don't think his son should have been at the at this meeting at Davos making backroom deals with foreign leaders. Like that is the antithesis of what they said about damn Hunter Biden. Oh, he got a deal working at a gas company. This dude his son is in the other fucking room making deals with other countries based on his father's strength.
That's why I brought up Kim Jong-un, because when Kim Jong-il, the father, was still alive, Kim Jong-un was in those rooms. The little guy in North Korea, when his dad was, because his granddad was part of that whole clan too, but when they were dictators, Kim Jong-un, who was still underage at the time, he was around. So I think that could be, that's why I compared Trump to Kim Jong-un, because he's bringing Barron around and shit like that. He may be telling them, you need to pay attention so when it's your time to lead, you know what's going on. I'm just telling you, I can see it.
Look, I'm just looking for a little bit of consistency, because when they cried about Hunter Biden, oh, he robbed those Ukrainians for $2 million, which he smoked all of it up. It's the Biden crime family, and Biden he benefited. He got money from the Chinese. Like, dude, stop it. The man turns over his damn taxes every year. He ain't getting no fucking money from China. But they still would say it. But now when you mention they cutting $200 million deals in the next room, literally, with their father sitting there, meeting with these people. The guy, the last meeting he had last year, the guy was up there on the stage when, they was taking the pictures and stuff. And after they took the pictures, the old boy he stopped him and stuff. Hey, could you have Eric or Don Jr. give me a call about that thing,
Yeah. I do remember talking about that. But understand, a lot of Christians believe to question, criticize, or not have faith in the Lord is blasphemy. It's a sin. I think it's similar with Trump. To not trust or have faith in Trump, to criticize Trump, it's TDS. It's unpatriotic. And I think that when it comes to Trump, that's why a lot of MAGA do, as you're rightfully pointing out, They had a problem when Hunter Biden was using his dad's name to make money. They don't have a problem when Barron is doing it. And there's a host of issues like that. They had a problem when Obama was golfing too much. Obama was on the internet too much. They suddenly don't care when Trump is doing it. I do believe it's a case of to question or not have faith in Trump is indeed unpatriotic or a really acute case of TDS. They just don't agree with that. So that's why he can do this stuff.
They said the other day, they was like, I think Trump broke the record. He did like 150 truths in like 20 minutes, like the other night.
The man is a genius. The man is a genius, Cal. He's unstoppable. The man is a genius. This is our leader, man.
He's literally using his own platform to put out executive office, whatever.
He's using Truth Social to run the country. He's firing people through it. He's hiring people through it. He's threatening people through it. He's making jokes and trolling. He's doing everything through Truth Social. So he's using that to run the country. It's like a bullhorn almost.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
So it is what it is. I'll go ahead and move it on. But so you do see they were already to the point where they're just simply ignoring judges' orders.
Yeah, they've pretty much said, look, we just not going to obey your orders, and we'll see you at the next court appearance that you make, but we're not going to say nothing different then. Because, Pam Bondi already admitted she the one who told them to keep those planes moving, even though the judge had put down.
Why don't the judges, if somebody is doing, then fuck it. Put also on record, I want this person taken into custody. What you did goes against my orders. I'm going to order that you be held right now. You can appeal it. Why don't any of these judges put any meat behind their like when Trump was still a citizen, was giving out the judge's address and shit, like, why don't they put any meat behind their shit?
Because they know, just like what we just said, if they do that, they will fully expose themselves of having no fucking power to do anything. It's easier to say, well, we're going to hold her in contempt and not ever anything happen than them to put down that final order and the justice system behind it says, fuck you. They won't do it.
So in other words, it's best to have us thinking nothing may happen than to actually put out an order and show it to us.
Yeah, pretty much. And I just wanted to say, I was emptying out my thing because I know I told you before that.
Yeah, you did mention that. But that was a well of a good time to show it. But damn, I hate to hear that. But yeah, we TikTok is now in the hands of Americans at this point, right-wing Americans, I believe.
Yeah. It was Larry Ellison and all of them. All of those people. I won't say their names because I might be put on the list, but. I just say my last analogy is Trump has got people to the point in this country. Well, he will tell people, "Look, I'm coming to exterminate your whole family," and if he only exterminates 2 of them, he wants you to thank him for it. Because I didn't get all of them.
That sounds like some cartel type shit. That's scary, man.
We way past cartels. We on a new unseen level right now.
I guess based on what you're saying, the only thing we have going for us is Father Time is something that he can't beat. He can beat everybody else, can't beat Father Time. Cal, thanks. Appreciate that. Right. Also, as well, thanks for the support.
I'll catch you on a different platform.
All right, well, we're on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, or YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're on a few others, but certainly look forward to seeing you in the days coming up. Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program. Tap the screen. Get us on up to, wow, some of you folks have been doing that. Get us on up to 115,000. We can certainly make that happen. Trump is doing this to take the focus off of the economy and Epstein, and it's working. Somebody said that. And thank you, Cal. Appreciate that. Thank you for the outpouring support. Thank you. Still died on January 6th at the insurrection at U.S. Capitol. What are you talking about? Insurrection, where the party that owns all the guns forgot to bring guns to the insurrection. That ain't true. You guys are still in the comments talking about January 6th. It's not true that everybody that showed up on January 6th is not armed. That is absolutely not true. In fact, there is video footage of one guy showing his gun, but I just say it this way: with nobody being dragged through what do they call it, a magnometer or whatever it's called, where they wand you and check you. Nobody was scanned. You're telling me you're 100% certain not one concealed weapon was in that crowd? How do you know? That's the same argument about Ashley Babbitt, where she didn't have a gun. She got all kinds of clothes on her. She's wearing an American flag as a cape. How can you be sure that she has nothing on her? How do you know? So the idea that, well, because they didn't all pull out their guns and show us, that means they're unarmed. That don't work with police. The police don't even honor that shit. We need to see your hands. How do we know you're not carrying? So, but like I said, there is video footage by one reporter that shows a protester on that day actually revealing his gun. He actually lifted up his shirt and showed he was carrying a gun. So it's an actual fact that guns were present on January 6th. And not to mention the guy going around planting pipe bombs. I guess we don't count those as weapons either, huh? He's now in jail, put there under the Trump administration for putting pipe bombs out. So yeah, the idea that nobody was carrying weapons is kind of crazy. If that guy wanted to use his gun, he would have. He would have. This is a bunch of BS. So now we went from they're not carrying to, well, they didn't use it. They didn't have a reason to use it. They were dominating everything. I don't know. Look, you can make up a million excuses for January 6th. Meanwhile, some African American can just lean forward in his seat and, well, he shouldn't have moved. He shouldn't have moved, so it's okay to shoot him. God, some of the stuff is comical. Anyway, looking at the comments, at least a dozen weapons were confiscated at the Capitol building on January 6th. I am talking about, okay, Minneapolis, like I said, with Minneapolis, let's get back to the actual topic of the show. With Minneapolis, the biggest concern for me, as I keep stating, is the secrecy. It is the secrecy. I haven't had a MAGA viewer on here that I've been trying to get because I want to know why, or better yet, the explanation that defends them being so secretive about this stuff. If these are all justifiable shootings, why are they so close about it? And why are they releasing biased statements minutes into the event? Why are they not saying we need to have this investigated first before we say something? Why are they releasing biased statements only minutes after the event, calling folks domestic terrorists, suggesting that Renee Nicole Good ran over the guy, which is insane considering you can see the video. So how are we supposed to believe them or even take them seriously when they're releasing statements like that are so biased? I'd like to hear from you folks on that. The one squib, why did Bowser and Pelosi turn down the National Guard? I don't know why they turned down the National Guard, but President Trump was there and he knew the National Guard was not present. Why didn't he realize it was not safe and stop the event? Some of this, look, if Trump because remember, according to you folks, Trump thought the event might get out of hand. So according to you, Trump requested the National Guard from Pelosi. Pelosi turned it down. So it's obvious that Trump himself realized we may need National Guard. So you show up to have a protest where you already believe in advance the National Guard and security may be needed. You know the security is not there, something you thought was needed. Why would you then send a crowd that you originally thought needed to be secure to the Capitol building? There is no way to look at this without some negligence falling on President Trump. You felt that security was needed. She denied security. So you sent an unsecured crowd to the Capitol building that you believed might get out of hand to the point where you need the National Guard. And somehow, some way, all I have to do is say, go peacefully, patriotically. Kind of like Barbara Eaton on, what was it called? I Dream of Jeannie. You just blink your eyes and they just all become peaceful. Then why the hell did you think you need the National Guard to begin with? If all you could say is go peaceful, patriotically, and they all behave, Then why did you need the National Guard? No way to look at that event and suggest that Trump did nothing wrong. He was not. It was all Nancy Pelosi's fault. If you knew National Guard was needed and she didn't give them to you, but you felt they were needed, then you should take some adverse action. Well, fuck it. They might be dangerous. I'll just send them to the Capitol building and blame it on Nancy Pelosi. That's fucking ridiculous. And that's exactly what happened. We don't have a guard, so if they do something, we'll just blame it on Nancy. You didn't have to send them to the Capitol building. So the idea that Trump is innocent in this, to me, makes no sense. Looking in the comments, though, Tim, you're sharing manure. Once again, another comment that has nothing of value in it. They were beating dude in his head on the back. It was like 7 of them. Look, I don't want to go down the road of January 6th because I personally believe that they could have did anything and the right would have viewed Trump as innocent on that. No matter what they did, they're going to view Trump as innocent on that. Let me go back to the comments, though. We'll continue on with Mr. Greenland. Patriotically and peacefully. Yeah, like I said, if you thought the National Guard was needed, why didn't you do something when they weren't there? If I know I need security and let's say I'm having a block club and I know some of my friends come in are straight up thugs. So I let the local police department know, could you block off some streets or could you because this might get out of hand and they don't provide anything and I throw the party anyway when I don't make it clear that security should be there and I know they're not there. How am I not partially responsible for that? How is that not negligence on my part? I'm the president. I'm in control of the country. If they don't give me the National Guard, I could send extra DEA, ATF, ICE, like what Trump is finding. The National Guard is not my only option. If she won't give me the National Guard, then I'll find some federal agents. Mr. Greenland, good evening. Welcome to the program.
Good evening.
Good to hear from you again. Now, your country is all over the news, man. Now, obviously, we're talking about Minnesota right now, but I do want to talk to you because your country's all over the news. You little bastards are ready to fight, huh?
Yeah, it's not only us. It's pretty much the rest of the world.
We can't give you a few bucks and buy your country.
The concept of owning stuff is so foreign to us.
What do you mean?
Here in Greenland, you cannot own land. It's the land is supposed to be for all, for everybody to use.
That sounds like
it's so foreign to us to sell or own it.
That sounds like our Native Americans. They used to also believe that man cannot own land. So there's zero chance that Trump could ever buy your country.
Zero.
Well, how many other countries put actual troops on your territory prepared to fight the United States? I know Denmark. Was France there in that?
Yeah, France, Germany, England, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and a few others, I think, and a few countries from Africa.
Damn, even some black guys showed up, huh? They stood on the ice on behalf of you guys. Wow. So now Trump is claiming that we have made a deal with you guys, and it's good for Greenland, he says, and he also says that we are going to get everything we want out of Greenland. Have you guys heard anything about the deal that the United States has made with you guys?
Oh, he's lying. We know he's lying. He has nothing.
So no deal was made?
No deal.
So you just sit there for no reason. Wow. I guess I'm trying to figure out, what do you guys have over there that we want? Okay, so I know they're talking about precious, or better yet, rare earth minerals or something like. What do you guys have over there we trying to get our hands on?
Yeah, rare earth minerals. We have second largest mineral ore in the world. The biggest one is in China, and the proportion in Greenland are the second largest in the world. And we have gold, zinc, minerals, iron, and lots more, including oil. But we're not gonna mine oil in Greenland.
So that island is resource rich. So the Trump administration, our government suggests that we need your country for the security of the United States, but also for the security of NATO, indicating that Russia and China is interested in potentially taking over parts of your country or doing something volatile to your country in itself. Do you guys have any concerns with Russia or China encroaching on your land?
Not at all. They are not here. We don't see any ships of Chinese or Russians around Greenland. We've never seen them except for American ships.
Well, just because you don't see them don't mean they're not there. I mean, submarines could be under the polar ice caps or something. I mean, they could be there. I mean, America has obviously more intelligence value than you got. We got access to satellites and things like that. So he's saying they're there though, but you guys don't fear that at all.
It's so unlikely that Russia would come here to fight NATO.
Well, the problem is where you guys are positioned is like a pass-through route. If there were intercontinental weapons fired from Russia towards NATO countries or even towards America, or the other way, it's believed that your country, due to the way it's positioned on Earth, is where those missiles would go over. So they want to put a dome in your country so that they can shoot a lot of that stuff down, which probably would mean that all sorts of debris would be landing on your island if that happens. But it does sound like that's what they're viewing it as. Your country is like a Passover point for ordnance. Go ahead.
Yeah, there is already a security and into the Air Force base. Today is called a Space Force to the Air Force. There is radar and early, how do you call it? Early alarm. You can see missiles coming from Russia or China.
So it sounds like the U.S. in terms of militarily may be acting in your best interest. But hang on one second. Eddie Stallworth in the comments said, I don't think this guy hears himself. He's just like the brothers that sit under the tree and talk about world events. Well, I want to hear you, Eddie. Feel free to elaborate on that in the comments. If you post something of value, it can be critical, it can be insulting. We'll certainly respond to it. But getting back to you, Mr. Greenland there, do you guys want continued support and effort from the U.S. military going forward?
Oh, if U.S. attacks and takes Greenland, that means U.S. lose all bases in Europe and Canada and all support around the world. And that's going to cost so much money for America because Europe and the rest of the world is going to dump American funds. And your country is going to owe so much money. And your finance will be worse than the Great Depression.
But let me ask you the elephant in the room, the big question that everybody wants to know. Do you folks, with the backing of NATO, because obviously all the NATO member nations were showing up on your behalf to fight the United States, do you guys actually think, if it came down to it, you could stop a full-on military incursion from the United States with NATO's help?
Yeah, because I'm sure, and about more than half of America would help us.
You know something? If this was a September 12th, 2001 event, I would disagree with you because I remember George Bush on the rubble of the World Trade Center telling the firefighters, I hear you, and the people that knock these buildings down will hear all of us soon. I saw the enrollment in the military swell up. People wanted to kick some ass after what bin Laden did. But you are right. When it comes to Greenland, unlike after September 11th, where the country united to go after the perceived enemy, Trump does not have the backing of his own country to go after Greenland and NATO. I think you would have a lot of allies if Trump attacked Greenland here in this country. I think a lot of Americans would be on your side in that. So I actually agree with you.
Yeah, it's so unlikely that would happen. He's just right now trying to show he's the strong guy. And I just read something, and it's kind of funny. We should stop try to say Trump is like Hitler, because Hitler was popular and Trump is not.
But do you agree with that? I mean, saying Trump is like Hitler is obviously a very inflammatory statement. Do you agree? Do you see any similarities between the two?
Yes, a lot of similarities.
Elaborate, explain.
And what's happening in USA with ICE and everything? It's part of the plan. Try to make America less safe. Try to scare people from going out. For they are trying to make the next election very scary. So they trying to win the next election to scare you off.
That could happen. And I see in the comments, Billy Wap 43 says, how many American presidents turned on their allies? I don't know any American president that has done it to the level of Trump, where now we're pissed off with folks on our own him. In fact, do we have any allies right now on our own hemisphere, from Canada all the way down to Brazil, all the countries in between, starting with Mexico? Do we have any allies among? I guess El Salvador, because that's what we were deporting people to. But do we have any allies at all in our own hemisphere? So I don't know anybody that's turned on as many allies as Trump has. I think it. So do you see NATO, Mr. Greenland? Do you see NATO remaining intact now that Trump has threatened your nation?
No, it's not going to be intact. It's going to be different.
What do you expect? What are you indicating? What are you indicating? Different how?
Oh, it's we do not trust USA anymore. The trust is gone, and it's going to be very difficult in the next few decades trying to build up new alliance, and that will be up to Europe. And right now they are discussing Greenland should be part of European Union, including Canada.
Wow. Now I can understand and sympathize your distrust in America, with Trump literally threatening to use military on your country and saying phrases like, we're going to do what we want, whether Greenland wants to or not. But I do want to ask, what if we got a different president that was apologetic? Like when Obama became president, they indicated that he was on an apology tour. What if we got an American president that was really apologetic? Because you guys know that Trump is different than all the other presidents we've had. You know he's different because you know what's happening in America with Minnesota and stuff like that. What if we got a president in there that was more in line with what we've always had, as opposed to someone that is, making radical changes like Trump is right now?
Yeah, but you have to think about the the people who are backing Trump, the MAGA and the Republican side, who are extremely silent because the government is not doing people's for the people.
They're not silent. They're not silent. They're applauding his efforts. They're cheering it. They like what he's doing.
Yeah, that's wrong, because government's supposed to do right by the people, for the people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they believe that Trump is doing what's right by the nation. So MAGA sees Trump as the best president we've ever had.
Because they only want for the few who has better. It's, I don't know. Maybe I should say, like, they are greedy. Greedy is trying to take more money out of the poor and the people who are struggling. And if you take the struggling people and they look bad and you try to kick them out of your country because you don't want to see them, because you are not helping them.
You know, it's interesting you say that because I watched a video earlier today about the growing mega movement. Mega, not MAGA, mega, MEGA, that is growing in the UK. Make England great again. There's a lot of Trump supporters in England that are becoming anti-immigrant, part of the old Brexit crew. So apparently the far right movement that's here in America that's become anti-immigrant and all this stuff, there's a similar movement that is growing significantly in the UK. Are you seeing these kind of movements in any other countries like France and Denmark? Have you heard anything about this in the EU?
Yeah, it's England, France, and Germany. There are some extreme right wing like MAGA, but they are not as strong as MAGA in US.
Well, no, because we got a MAGA president. They don't have a MAGA leader that's reached that much power yet. But I mean, it's got to start somewhere. I mean, Trump came down the golden escalator. He wasn't in power at that time. I mean, you have to grow. Let me also ask you this: with you openly stating that you guys no longer trust the United States, we have military presence on your sovereign territory, correct?
Yeah.
You gonna do anything about that? You're gonna leave a group of people there in your country that you don't trust?
They are 2,000 kilometers away from most of the places in Greenland.
2,000 kilometers. I mean, that doesn't really matter in the modern technology. I mean, we still 2,000 kilometers is not that far. I mean, we flew bombers to bomb the Iranian nuclear facilities from the United States. They made the whole thing round trip. So 2,000 kilometers is not very far anymore. But I'm just simply saying, you're going to leave Americans on your territory, though.
It's right now. It's everything is very complicated because it's international politics. Everything is dangerous. If you do too much or not enough, it's gonna be dangerous. So they have to negotiate everything on detail. So we want America as a partner, an ally, but we don't want to be Americans.
But you said you don't trust. You want them to be partners, but you just said you don't trust America.
Yeah, that means America is not going to be the only one who works as a partner with us.
And that's an interest. I want to ask from that making a sentence like that. America's not going to be the only country that's partners. What type of changes are you guys making in Greenland, maybe Denmark and Greenland, or even NATO altogether? Are any changes of significance being made now that Trump has threatened a NATO member country being your own? Have you seen any major changes being made from the way you guys used to deal with us versus maybe going forward?
Yeah, right now our politicians are discussing seriously to be part of European Union.
Well, if you're part of NATO, what would be the difference from being part of NATO and then elevating to the European Union? What changes would come from that?
Oh, there is a lot of security we will get automatically from European Union, a lot of financial resources we can get from European Unions to develop our countries, including militarily.
Now, you would also start using euros?
Maybe. There's some few countries like Denmark using still Danish crowns, what we are using right now.
Okay, so that's your currency. So the American dollar's not in Greenland?
No.
Yeah.
In my town, you cannot pay with dollars. You have to.
I mean, listen, I lived in Australia. The American dollar was not in Australia either. I had to always exchange my money. They got like little plastic money over there. It's something totally different. But shit, I mean, this is what is the sentiment from the people of Greenland? I mean, we saw some protests taking place. Are there? Because remember, before all this really blew up, there were folks in Greenland wearing MAGA hats, asking J.D. Vance and Trump to make Greenland part of the United States. Do you still have those kind of people over there?
Oh, that's so funny you're mentioning that because they were paying money for those people to join that little restaurant so they can have some people there.
Are you saying that MAGA were involved in paid protesters?
Yes.
I thought that was George Soros. Really? MAGA using paid protesters. God damn. That's something they say the liberals do all the time. Paid protesters. Wow. That's crazy. So there is nobody who really wants that then. It was just people being paid.
Yeah, I think in all, in Greenland there should be about 5% people who wants America to join, but those are people are lack of education.
What did you guys think of Joe Biden? You know, our current president said he was sleepy and the worst president we've ever had. He was stupid. A lot of strong terms come from Trump about Biden. But how did you guys view Biden versus our current commander in chief?
Yeah, he was very nice guy and trustworthy and true to his word. He never lied.
And you see Trump as
If he breathes, he lies.
that's strong. So if Trump is breathing, he's lying, huh? Do you believe the sentiment is the same like that throughout other European nations, or is it Greenland, predominantly Greenland, because that's who he was threatening so much?
No, it's predominantly the rest of the world.
Wow. Any boycotts? Boycotts of American music, American TV, or anything over there?
We don't have it anyway.
So you guys were not watching any American TV shows or anything?
No, we don't do it. It's unless we have it Disney Plus or Netflix or YouTube.
And I'm asking that because American entertainment is something that we export a lot of that. I mean, Hollywood, you know, everything from Baywatch on to modern television shows, Law and Order, that stuff's shown around the world. So I'm surprised to hear you guys don't watch any. So you have your own TV shows, or you're watching European stuff?
To me, I like to watch Netflix, Disney Plus.
Okay, so you're watching, that's American stuff.
Yeah, but it's not only American stuff.
Right,
I watch
right,
a lot
yeah.
of Asian,
Yeah.
Korean.
Yeah, I know Netflix. Netflix has a different type of programming in other countries. So now, real quick, because I'm gonna have to move it on, push for time. But it's winter, obviously. You're in a period where it doesn't get daylight over there right now, right?
No, the sun has come back. The 13th of January, the sun appears again.
How long is it daylight there?
About 6 hours.
So what time does it get daylight? What time does the sun rise where you're at?
But the sun is rising now. That means about 15 minutes earlier and 15 minutes later every day, and it's rising every day.
What time is it locally right now?
Right now it's 22:11.
It's 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah.
And the sun is rising?
No, not yet.
No, I said, what time does the sun rise?
Oh, the sunrise would start around 8 and it will appear around 12.
So the sun takes 4 hours to rise?
Yeah.
And when does it set?
Oh, it will set about 6.
That is weird. I've never seen a 4-hour sunrise. The sun rises in about a half hour where we're at. That's crazy. I don't know. That makes me want to swallow up. So I don't know if I could handle that. All right, well, Greenland, go ahead.
Yeah, Have you seen Greenlandic TikTokers who are making fun of American culture?
No, I have not. You have to send me that, though. I would like to see it. I have not seen that.
You can look for it. It's called Importing American Culture.
In Greenland.
Yeah.
Well, I know right now it ain't going to be good because what we've done to your nation is been very much insulting. I will say that. But I got to move it on, Mr. Greenland. I'm glad to hear from you again. My door's always open to you. Come on back because your country is certainly in the news. And you said that you guys feel that Trump claiming we have a deal with Greenland. You believe that is a lie.
Oh, well, we know it's a lie.
Yeah, he's right now that I can tell. The Trump administration is the only people saying we have a deal with Greenland. I have not heard any European leader echo that sentiment. And now here you are in Greenland saying you feel confident it's a lie, so he's just making it up. Then why do you think he lied about it?
To save his face.
Yeah.
Because government's supposed to be working only with the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And American politics never done that.
Welcome to the USA. Greenland, thanks for coming through. Appreciate it, man. Come on back anytime.
Okay.
Thank you. And by the way, listen, if we did have a deal with Greenland, you should be hearing that from more than just the Trump administration. There's BBC, British Broadcasting Corp. There's Sky News, Al Jazeera. There's plenty of international news agencies. If we have a deal with Greenland, you should hear that from more than just the Trump administration. Now, I asked the last caller, why would Trump lie about that? He said to save face. I can see that. I actually can see that. You've threatened Greenland, made statements such as anything less than us completely owning Greenland is unacceptable. The entire of NATO stood up ready to fight against the United States. You backed down. You're not the kind of guy that backs down. You are a leader. You're an alpha male. You're a leader that likes to project strength. You can't let your people know you back down. How do you prevent from them finding out? Say that they caved and made a deal. And I do believe what my last caller is suggesting is true because I have not heard that coming from anywhere else other than the Trump administration. Have you even heard anything about the parameters of such deal? What's in the deal? Was anything signed? Is there a link we can go to see what we were given out of that deal? There's nothing there. There's nothing there. So I do agree with my last caller. I think what my last caller said is likely true. Where's the parameters that, what was gained out of it? Whatever. I mean, because we already have basis access to Greenland. So what more did we get? Did they give us access to drilling and tapping into their minerals and resources? What did we get out of this so-called deal that we didn't already have? If you don't hear any answers to that, it's likely because no deal was ever made. Now, before I go to the next call, understand Trump does do a lot of stuff on, I don't want to even say handshakes because I'm not for sure they shake hands, but Trump does talk to world leaders often and indicate it was a great conversation, it was positive, and things came out of it, and you never hear anything about the progress, such as him meeting with Kim Jong-un of North Korea in his first term. He made it sound like that was a great meeting, okay? It's several years later. What came out of that? Is there anything on record you've heard that came out of that whatsoever? Nothing came out of that. Same thing with Vladimir Putin meeting President Trump in Alaska, the Americans laying out the red carpet, giving Putin a flyover. God knows how much that costs to have military jets, B-1s flying over, and then putting Vladimir Putin in the presidential limo, which many could question because you're exposing some of the confidentiality and secrets of what's in the limo to a foreign adversary. But point is, that's now been several months, almost a year ago. What came out of that? Obviously, the war with Ukraine still continues. Trump made it sound like that was a very positive meeting between him and Putin. Can anybody think of anything that came out of that? For all the expense? We had a sign out there, Alaska 2025 and all of that for him. What came out of that? So Trump does meet with world leaders often and say that the meetings were very positive and he really hypes them up. And then when you look back, there's nothing there. So that's not the first time that's happened. Anyway, looking in the comments, Trump says release the Epstein files. He says it, but he's not doing it. And I think we all know that there's one man in this country, one man on earth, that could guarantee we see everything in the Epstein files if he said so. And that is Trump. So, real quick, tap the screen. Help your boy out with the TikTok cap goals. Rather quiet in here. Show your boy some love. I think we're pretty close. Then they go in the news and they say the opposite. Says Mr. Mo better. That does happen. That absolutely does happen. He said the war would be over day one of his presidency. No, actually, he said more than that. I think that says King 1196. Trump didn't only say the war will be over in 24 hours. Appreciate that, sir. Thank you. Shirk 14. Thank you for the hat mustache. Trump actually stated that he was going to attempt to end the war in Ukraine before reaching the Oval Office. He said he was going to do it as a president-elect. So if we elect Trump for a second term in November of 2024, he is going to have that war in Ukraine over with before inauguration in January of 2025. He is on record saying, I'm going to do this as president-elect before entering the Oval Office. He was promising to do it that quick, which is why I make it clear. I understand why people voted for Trump. Black, white, Hispanic, you name it. A lot of legitimate reasons to vote for Trump. Fact is, he promised a lot of good shit. He was going to bring down the price of groceries on day one. He was going to end wars in 24 hours. He made a lot of really big promises. I can understand people voting for him. It makes sense. He was promising some really good shit. Looking in the comments, how can you believe this guy? After all, he's been doing you are truly... Wait a minute. Your wording is bad. You're calling me stupid with bad grammar here, but let me give you the respect your comment deserves. You says, how can you believe this guy? After all, he's been doing you are truly stupid. And I hope you end up realizing how ridiculous you look thinking you can believe this man. Now, all of that contains no punctuation. But he's letting me know I'm stupid, okay? You didn't go to English class, but you do see the stupid nature of me. I get it. I can't respond to it, though, because it makes no sense. So this is a free speech program. We don't block, ban, or censor. So insulting the host will not get you blocked here. We believe in free speech, but we do believe in grammatically correct free speech, hopefully, but obviously some people have a difference of opinion. Looking in the comments real quick before we go back to the box, we'll go to Miss Mo Betta. Good evening, Miss Mo. Didn't threaten Greenland's strategic location importance as a path from Russia to China and North America. Yeah. The problem is Greenland don't even see threats from China and Russia, as you heard. That should be noted. Because remember, I'm going to say it like this. Just like Trump promised that we have a deal with Greenland when nobody has proof of that. Just like Trump promised, hang on a second, Mr. Mobetta. Just like Trump promised we were bombing drug boats off the coast of Venezuela when nobody has any proof of that. The point I'm making is Trump says a lot of things that do not come with proof. So if he says Greenland is under threat by Russia and China, you got to ask, where's the proof of that when the people of Greenland and Denmark and Europe is saying it's not a threat? Trump says a lot of stuff that don't come with proof. Miss Mobetta, good evening.
We know he lied. He lies bigly, Tim.
Bigly.
I don't even know why bigly. He's the best at it. He want to give himself credit for something. Give himself credit for lying about everything that come out of his daggone mouth. Come on.
Well, he didn't lie about winning the 2024 election, did he? He is our president. He is our president.
Yeah, he is the president because he had a lot of help. Believe that. And look, you was just talking about Elon, and now he got his ass out again too. He's out here trying to the election influence. I was just reading that yesterday.
Well, that makes and blue one. Thank you. That makes sense. I mean, Elon was a huge factor in helping Trump get elected.
He absolutely was. He pushed his money around and got Trump elected.
They gonna work
again. Who's to say that election wasn't rigged on his behalf? So again,
Mike,
if the election was rigged in 2020, it was rigged in 2020, and he won in 2024. Where was the investigation those 4 years to say that there was election fraud?
You know something, and I really hate, because look, I like to have elections, and thank you, Debo. I really hate that Trump came on the scene, and now we no longer trust elections. I mean, are all elections free and fair in a country of 350 million people? No, there's probably been some fraud in every election at the national level in American history. After all, blacks couldn't vote in most of them, so we know those are not free and fair elections, but I still don't believe it's ever been fraudulent to the level that Trump states. And because he's introduced this amount of insecurity among the citizenry.
Nothing is ever to the
extent dramatic.
That he speaks.
Yeah, I agree.
Everything he speaks is dramatic, and it's newsflash to you, that doesn't make him a genius. That makes his supporters slow, very remedial.
If I can listen,
it's not that's not genius. They're just slow as fuck.
If I can tell Tina Turner she needs to buy a wig or hair implants, and she buys them with all of that hair, I am a genius. Like, I'm selling shit to people that they don't need. I do think that Trump is a genius. I mean, we can say he's not, but the guy
he's a con man. He's a con man. You know what a genius would be? He's talking all of this shit, and all of his people that actually support him is winning just like he is. No, it just makes him a con man. He's not a genius.
Well, listen, you gotta have a certain amount of.
He's a bloviating fool.
Bro, you gotta have a certain amount of genius in you to be a con man. If you believe he's a con man, you still gotta speak to the people and tell them what they want to hear.
That's called finding a niche, Tim. That's called finding a niche. That's like everybody on these apps that have their little small businesses and stuff. They found a niche that people buy into. Well, that's the same thing.
Well, that niche.
Does that make them genius too?
I'm just saying that
you're right.
That niche granted him every swing state, Mr. Mobetta. The guy is a genius.
No, Elon got him every swing state. Tim, stop.
Are you trying to tell me? Wait. Are you trying to tell me that without Elon Musk, Trump would not have won?
He absolutely wouldn't have. He had Starlink going there and fixed the machines.
So you don't believe Trump? You don't believe Trump won legitimately?
No, absolutely. I absolutely do not believe he won legitimately. That's why he got up there with his chest all puffed out, telling the people that they ain't gotta ever vote again and all kinds of shit like that. Listen, you have to. When people show you who they are, you gotta believe them. And he's proved over and over who he was.
And real quick before we continue, in the comments, Martin Cordona says no message on MLK Day. Can't believe a brother hasn't talked about it. We talked about that several times. We covered it on Martin Luther King's Day. I even made videos about it. You're just new to the program, sir. You're late to the game. We talked about that in detail. We also talked about his message on Juneteenth as well. So you're just late to the game.
Mm-hmm. And stuff like that, Tim, is what makes people believe that he's racist. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if you don't have to intend something to achieve it. Yes. Because you may not be intending to be racist, but guess what? You doing racist tactics, that says you're a racist.
Yeah, I don't have any legitimate pushback, and I can push back and defend Trump in many areas, but I don't have any legitimate reason or legitimate way, rather, to push back on why he ignored Martin Luther King's Day. It does not look good. Does it mean he's a racist? We could debate that, but skipping being the first president to skip a federal holiday, there's only 11 federal holidays. How could you skip MLK Day after leaving that horrible message on Juneteenth? I don't have a way to defend him on that. It looks bad. Only thing I can say is maybe it was an oversight because of his age or something. I have to really fluff hard. I have to really fluff hard.
Bull nuts to say it's an oversight. He intentionally did that. That's why he's gone and in the Smithsonian taking away stuff. And again, when you try to ignore the fact that certain things happen, you're bound to repeat it.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah, there's no way to make him skipping Martin Luther King Day look good. And you're right, with the Smithsonian and all that other stuff, removing all kinds of other stuff about Black history while renaming Confederate bases. I mean, while suggesting that whites that are victims of discrimination, while getting rid of DEI and affirmative action. And there's no way not to link all that together.
And Joe Blow, what do you mean that's not true? Point out to me what I said that wasn't true.
Yeah, I'm
like you, Tim. If you gonna say some shit, come with some kind of facts. Come prove me wrong.
I would just simply say Trump is online constantly. Show us his Martin Luther King Day tweet. That should be pretty easy to find if she's wrong.
Show us.
Yeah, that somebody's hating. Somebody's hating, but
of course they hating because I didn't say anything that was wrong.
Yeah.
So, but again, we know we got all kind of monitors and stuff going on now. And on this app here, and you got.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll tell you this: in defense of President Trump, by my comment section, there's a lot of people that do not want the message. I'm just saying, based on what I'm reading while you're talking, there's a lot of my MAGA viewers, my beloved MAGA, as I often say, they don't want it to get out that Trump did not acknowledge Martin Luther King Day. I can't tell you how many people in the comments are saying that's false and fake.
We know.
Yeah, they don't want that to get out.
We know they still believe in. They probably call Mr. Greenland a liar. A man who's in Greenland, they probably call him a liar because Trump got up there and said, "Oh, in 2 weeks you'll know." Why is 2 weeks his magic number?
I don't know, but like I said when we were talking, if we made a deal with Greenland, you should be hearing about that from more than just the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're not hearing about that, the fact that you're not hearing about that from anybody else but him, that should speak volumes.
Exactly. But again, like I was telling you before, we talked about this before. Them people, right now we might appear to be the superpower when it comes to the military, but trust me, them people band together. We're the ones who are going to suffer because not with just military, but it's our dollar. It's the dollar and stuff that's going to suffer. So we're going to see hurt in other ways, not with the military, and even some of them are going to pay too.
Yeah, and I see in the comments one of my viewers is pushing back on Mr. Greenland by saying that this is Robert Kennedy pointing out that Mr. Greenland only represents one individual out of 57,000 members of Greenland. But I would also point out that you guys have no problem by taking a minority. I mean, you guys talk about eating Tide Pods. I mean, how many Americans do that? You talked about Greenlanders wanting to be part of MAGA. How many Greenlanders really want to be part of MAGA? You guys have no problem about taking the word of the minority when it favors you. But now Mr. Greenland comes on here and says the opposite, and suddenly he's only one out of many. That's never stopped you before. I mean, how many Americans are transgender wanting to play against boys in sports? Very, very few. So
it might have been 6 out of that whole thing. It might have been 6 people in this country that happened. Yeah. And then what was happening? They had it to where they couldn't win even if they beat, they couldn't win the top prize. They would still give it to the first lady. So again, he demonizes things like that. We're worried about things that really don't even affect us. You're worried about the rainbow community. Why are you worried? What about them that bothers you so much? Is it that you're attracted to them? Were you tricked by one of them or something?
I don't think MAGA's attracted to the LGBTQ community. I think it's religion or something of that nature. I think religious-wise.
Well, those are antinomians. Those are fake Christians, like they are patriots. Patriots, fake Christians, all of them fake. And that's why they don't like woke, because woke call that shit out. They want to make it seem like woke is a bad thing. Woke people call that shit out. Y'all fake as fuck.
So getting back on the actual topic, did you see what happened in Minnesota? Did you see the actual video of the shooting?
No, I didn't. That's why I didn't even touch on it, on the situation or whatever. But to speak as why are they blocking, why they're stonewalling the people to come in, they going against federal orders and all of that stuff because they know they did wrong. If you don't have anything, if what you did was to the letter, why aren't you allowing these people to come in? Come see what happened. Show them the proof. Show them what happened.
Yeah, I didn't get many MAGA views on today, and I was certainly looking for them, and I would have given them priority because that is a question I would like to have asked. If what Trump and Kristi Noem are saying that this is just yet another justified shooting, why are they stonewalling the state government like that? If everything is only up and up, huh?
They full of cocky. That's why. They full of, and when I like it, you talk about that all the time. This immunity thing. That's because they gave them the same immunity that they had. And you know why he got away? They got away with it already. So we're gonna continue to do it. The proof is in the video.
I mean, I hate to say, but that's the only thing I can see is that there must be something to hide. I mean, because these shootings happen. When Renee Nicole Good was killed, Kristi Noem popped up and said it was an act of domestic terrorism. Trump said the guy got ran over. And they released these statements within a few hours of the event happening. So they released these really biased statements before any investigation took place. And then they let no one else get involved in the investigation. And now they're doing that again. So it does look like they're trying to hide something or something like that. I don't understand. You know what
they're trying to hide? Because they really have no reason to be over there. What is your reason for being there? You claim you was going over there for fraud. You got to look in the books for that. Why y'all out in the streets looking for fraud?
But what about in the comments? One of my viewers, Cringy Alaskan, that's a hell of a name, says because the state government would try to railroad the officer. So he's saying, now I would push back and say that the federal government is trying to railroad the citizens, by the way, but he's saying that. Yeah, so
listen, the level of hypocrisy with these people is just uncanny. Like you can't fathom it half the time. You want to know what is, they need some kind of lobotomy or something going on. That shit should be studied.
Well, you don't need to study it. It's because of what I said. Trump is a genius, and he gets things done that he gets support that no one else could ever garner. He's really good at what he does.
But
give it up for him. Give it up for him.
He found his niche. He found it. He found it in those people. So it doesn't matter what he does, good, bad, or indifferent. They gonna believe it either way, and that's because they don't speak on the fact like, oh, he was a Democrat, huh?
Yeah, I gotta say,
what happened?
I gotta say, I envy someone that has the power of persuasion, the gift of gab to his level. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a politician like that. Now, Obama had a hell of a ability to sell himself as well, but I think Trump is better at it. I mean, because I think the Obama supporters.
How do you think he's better at it?
Let me explain. I don't think the Obama supporters were in the tank for Obama as strong as the Trump supporters are in the tank for Trump. You got Trump supporters who readily state they would take a bullet for him. Ain't nobody saying that shit for Obama.
Because you know why? We feel safe without him getting up there insulting people. And calling people names and doing all of that. Obama didn't have to do none of that. He didn't have to give up any kind of moral to stand his ground. And he got work done.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. But I'm just simply putting it like this: the level of devotion to Trump is off the chain compared to Obama, and Biden didn't even have that. So neither did Kamala
That's
Harris.
sad, though. That you give them credit. That's really sad because that's who their God is. That's who their God is, and his God is money. So, like I keep telling you before, when Satan got kicked out of heaven, he took a third of the angels along with him.
Well, I can't speak from the biblical aspect, but there is similarities.
I did.
Yeah, yes, you did. There are similarities, but I guess I would ask, how does one man is flawed, man will perish eventually. How does man get that sort of power? What did Trump do to get that sort of convincing power over his supporters?
He owns those files.
That's it?
Those ain't. Yep. Have you heard of the stories of those things that are in those Trump files? Because they're not Epstein files. That's why Epstein was.
You think MAGA has undeniable support for Trump because of Epstein files?
Listen, what did he run on?
A host of things. Economy, projecting strict worldwide, securing the border, bringing down groceries.
And the economy ain't shit. The groceries are up or whatever, and they still won't have him release those files. They're not even talking. His supporters are not even talking about it.
Well, like I've mentioned before on the show, I don't believe the files are that big of a deal with MAGA because it's a 90-10 issue. I believe that they see Trump. 90% of what Trump does is so great for this nation that, yeah, maybe if he abused the kid or whatever the hell's in the Epstein files, I don't care what it is. Maybe there's 10% about anybody that I don't like. But I like 90% of what this guy's doing for the country. I'm not going to throw him under the bus for the other 10%.
What is he actually doing when there's people that lost health insurance, there's people that lost jobs, people can't afford to buy homes. What's so great about that? Gas is the only thing I'll say that's stable right now. That's not up. Everything else is unattainable for most of the American people, even his supporters.
And by the way, folks in the comments are agreeing with the 90-10 I just stated. Well, when you say what is he doing? He's exposing corrupt liberals, which they favor.
Which ones?
Nancy Pelosi's, the Hillary Clintons, Tim Walz now, Mayor Fry, all of them folks.
Corrupt how? What did they do that was so corrupt?
Well,
and that he's not charging them.
Well, his corruption exposure of Governor Walz of Minnesota is so great. Governor Walz is not even running for governor no more. He was definitely planning on a third term.
No, you know what? You know why he's not running? Because it's saving face for his people.
No.
He said, I'm gonna step down. Yeah, you can say no all you want.
He is not running for he's not running for governor because the Trump administration, by way of Nick Shirley, exposed the fraud. That Somali fraud is why Tim Walz is not running. It has nothing to do with anything else. That's what took him down.
And Tim Walz, that still had nothing to do with Tim. That had nothing to do with him. The fraud it might have been an oversight on the people that worked under him, but that did not have anything to do with Tim Walz. The only thing because he is the governor, but those entities and stuff, they go to different departments.
So you're telling me
he's not running because he is saving face. He said, I'm going to step down because all they're going to do is attack. You can't get no work done like that.
So you're telling me, had that Somali fraud not happened in Minnesota, Tim Walz would have still stepped down. He was still going to step down.
No, that's what I'm saying. Okay, now I get what you're saying.
Without the Somali fraud is the primary reason why there is no more Tim Walz.
Okay, I get that perspective now.
And who exposed the Somali fraud? Who exposed the Somali fraud?
The Somalis did.
No.
The Somalis were.
No. On the national level.
They were the whistleblowers. They were the whistleblowers because they were getting misused and abused by that lady. What's her name? Annie, whatever. That got locked up. Her ass. She's the actual villain.
You don't.
Go read it.
So you're
Go
telling
look
me.
it up.
So you're telling me the Trump administration on the national level did not expose the Somali fraud at all.
No, it was already happening before Trump even took office.
But it wasn't happening on.
It happened under Biden.
It was not being exposed on the national level until the right wing, Fox News, Nick Shirley, the Trump administration took it.
It was happening under Biden.
I didn't say who it started happening under. I said who exposed it on a national level.
Biden.
I gotta go. I'll leave it at that.
I know because I know how you are. You tend because we don't give Trump any credit.
Biden didn't expose that. You're trying to give
because he exposed. No, you saying because he exposed it is the reason why it's happening. No, that's bullshit.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. Biden did that.
He's using it. He's using it. No, Biden didn't. That was a joke. But they were the ones who were prosecuting it under the Biden administration. It was already happening.
And it was getting no national attention at all until Trump came
Why
along.
does it need national attention when it's already happening?
Because you want to get rid of, because you want to have national attention because you want to get rid of a liberal governor. That's why.
Well, that's because he's using it as a political pawn. Now, say that, Jim. Just say that.
It's politics, Miss Mobetta. The liberals will do the same thing. That's how it works.
I get it.
All right, then. So we'll give Trump the win.
I'm not getting. No, we
yes,
not.
You don't want.
He's not the winner in this situation. Sorry.
Trump.
And if that's the case, what is he doing in the streets of Minnesota right now?
He exposed billions of dollars or millions or whatever it is of fraud in that state. Give Trump the win. Can you do that? Can you give him the win?
No. And he only mad because he feel he the only one that could fraud people out of shit. He mad because somebody out frauded him.
Okay, wait.
Knock it off.
Well,
he don't get no credit for that. Sorry.
Okay, well, you won't give him credit. I'll leave it at that.
He is the fraud. He is the fraud. Him and look at all. Let's go back to January 2025 and look at all the shit that happened under him.
That don't mean none of that. None of that you're bringing up defends Tim Walz for what he's involved in. I gotta go. I'll leave it at that. Mr. Mobetta, thank you. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. See if we can get on up to 175. A YouTuber told a lie, and Trump ran with it. You're talking about Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley, he played it like a fiddle. Now, yeah, he went to businesses that were officially closed and complained that they should be open. By the way, everybody should have known. Two white men are not just gonna walk into a fucking daycare center with a camera. If you got a daycare center with a bunch of Somali kids and two white dudes can just walk in there with cameras and shit, that ain't a very secure daycare center. But it worked. It worked. What he did actually worked, and the folks on the right believed it. So it worked very well. Okay, all right, I'll be up. So it worked very. I'm on air.
Jill's car won't start.
Oh shit! All right, I'll take care of it. All right. So it worked, and for President Trump, it's a win. Anyway, as you may have heard, I got to step away for a minute. YouTube and Nick Shirley made a lot of money off of that. Nick Shirley got paid, so it is what it is. Unfortunately, I do got to step away for a minute. I got something going on, so appreciate you guys. 160,000, a little bit low on TikTok cap goal. Not the happiest, but anyway, we'll